The board meeting of December 14th, 2021 is called to order. Member Washington will now lead us a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This has been a tough year for many of our parents and students. Over the last few days, we lost another 2 students to a tragic accident. I'm asking you that you honor those students, families, teachers, and staff impacted by this accident by doing a moment of silence. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge.
We have no withdrawn items today. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Hahn and a second by Member Gray. Any discussion? Please vote when your lights appear. The vote is unanimous. Let the record reflect that all board members are present either in the boardroom or by remote. Board members, I'd like to go over format of today's meeting. We are practicing social distancing as much as possible, so we ask that guests in the boardroom keep one chair open between families. As a reminder, we are a nonpartisan board who believe all children can be empowered to learn, to succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave the way for efficient and effective agenda statements and or questions, board members will have 3 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterward, the superintendent can respond. If you have further questions, you're asked to get back in the queue. Member Washington will now read the board guidelines.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we begin this afternoon meeting, let me quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed caption on live webcasts, on TV, cable TV, on video monitors in the auditorium. It also can be viewed with closed caption and online video archive.
We have one item scheduled for time certain, and that's 6 p.m. That's employee input. Now we'll move on to public comment. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. However, it is requested when you address the board comments are not directed personally against a board member or staff member, but rather directed at the issues. Any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. Our civility policy is in place. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. When there are 30 seconds left, you will see a yellow light on the lectern. A red light and a chime will indicate when your time is up. I will now call up the first speakers. No. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Paula Castano, Hillsborough Public School Advocates. Congratulations to Chair Combs and congratulations to Vice Chair Washington. I was being tracked by someone voted one of Florida's top political figures, a person in Tallahassee with strong ties to the Koch Foundation, which is one of the largest privately held American companies funded by billionaires and also connected to the Walton Family Foundation, more billionaires. They supposedly stand for educational reform and launching innovation in education, which ultimately equates to destroying public education as we know it. How does one destroy public education? To manufacture a crisis that kids are are being failed. Number one, have the media reinforce said crisis. Number two, remove and ignore community voices. Number three, increase student testing. My first grader, Gabby, as dictated by Florida standards, now takes monthly cumulative math tests as a 6-year-old. We study for hours. We have 2 tutors, 3, Addison, if you want to include me. And she's above average. She missed testing, gifted and talented by a few points in the summer. We do this just so she can get an A on a test. What happens to our brown and black populations who can't afford these tutors, who don't have moms like me that have an education background? Something is wrong. If you believe in public schools, all of you as a member of this board, please help us change the state. Chair Combs, Vice Chair Washington, we have talked about this before. This board can lead the way and band together with other pro-public education school boards in Florida. Please send a letter with these other boards collectively to the Florida legislature. Demand more state funding. Please take a stand with us for our kids, for our brown and black populations who are getting the short end of the stick. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, school board members, and congratulations to Chairwoman Combs and Vice Chair Washington. Another thankless job, but I understand. I've been there myself. My name is Craig Newman. I'm a retired chiropractor, practiced here for 37 years, and I'm also a member of the school board advocates and many other boards within this city. I am disappointed to learn in my readings how Hillsborough County has got the largest number of failed schools in the state. It is disappointing, but it isn't a surprise based on the funding that we receive. Ranks as the lowest, as 44th in the nation of underfunding public schools. Couple that with state funds going to charter schools instead of to public schools and using the money we pay for taxes, and as well as support staff and teachers that are needed in Hillsborough County. This appears to me as a recipe for disaster that obviously needs to be fixed. And I know you're working on it. I'm just voicing my opinion. I support just about everything that Paula has said, her concerns about starting a program, banding all the school boards together and going after the lobbyists and legislators, getting lobbyists to go to see the legislators in public schools in a timely manner, and getting, excuse me, I got tongue-tied because I keep hearing a ding. I thought I have 3 minutes. Oh, all right, I'm sorry. I thought the ding told me I had another 30 more seconds. All right, going backwards, we need to increase funding for our schools, period. We need to, and we need to stop funding charter schools. My reason for coming to these meetings are my 2 grandchildren. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they live in Hyde Park. They're depending on the school board to help bring this future, make it brighter for them. I'll end what I'm about to say, I'll end what I said with a quote from Whitney Houston. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. The future is based on the decisions we make here in this room. Please help our children out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Mark Lutho, Largo, 12.02, Interlocal Agreement for School Facilities Planning, Siting and Concurrency Update. Oh, I know this is going to be a big mistake. You haven't gotten it right yet. Here's Greta Thunberg and some of her young cohorts. Adults are failing us on climate. That's you getting the buildings wrong. belching the carbon. Here are some headlines that I've read before. Only big steps will save Earth. Huge changes needed to keep nature Earth okay, report says. Earth's carbon dioxide levels at highest level in 4 million years. Well, see, you fix that problem by making high-performance passive solar buildings. That's what stops the carbon from going into the atmosphere. And here's a headline: Study links reduce screen time to raise cognition. That's for your little children's. When they're with those screens all the time, they're not getting smarter. This is from October 2nd, 2018, in the U.S. and Day Today. And here are some headlines. The new abnormal. A Fred Branch warns of warming risk. As the research makes clear, the new abnormal is already here. It just makes clear that you're way past due on getting the science right. And I've been coming here for 30 plus years. And you just don't embrace it. It seems like somebody else needs to take charge. I don't know, there's something wrong here. Just something drastically wrong. Is there a character flaw?
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Fales, and my child is a student at Blake High School. On December 12th, 2021, just this Sunday, I read an article in the Tampa Bay Times called "Students Shouldn't Be Scared" by Bethany Barnes. This article is very detailed in the picture it paints. It details example after example of students who were ignored or punished when reporting sexual abuse to the administrators of Blake High School. It details incidents of sexual assault that happened on campus on a school day when children were left unsupervised. It details the story of multiple students who did not feel comfortable trusting the school's administration to appropriately handle allegations of sexual assault. It details comments that were heard in a school assembly supporting the idea that women often lie about sexual abuse. When the article is taken together with all these details, the picture it paints is clear. Blake High School and Hillsborough County Schools are not doing enough to keep our children safe. The harm that came to these children while in your care is irreparable. Their pain is great, and I have an abundance of care for how they must feel to suffer in the shadows. My hope is now that their pain has been brought into the light, this board will take action to demonstrate that it is committed to ensure the physical and psychological safety of all of the students in its care. I trusted Blake High School and Hillsborough County Schools to keep my child safe while at school. I feel shocked and horrified that these incidents happened in what I trusted to be a safe place. I feel disappointed and betrayed that the trust that I had has been broken. I feel rage, a rage that has consumed me in the 2 days since reading the article. And it's rage that motivates me to be here with you today to ask for your immediate assistance in restoring that trust. I'm here to ask you to approve an independent investigation into the policies and procedures of Blake High School and Hillsborough County Schools to determine how these students could have been protected. I'm here to ask for fundamental change to an institutional culture where our children are not listened to, our children are not believed, our children are seen as troublemakers when they raise concerns. You must listen to our children. You must believe our children.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jody Rothman, and this is also regarding that same article. Students should not be scared, that appeared in the Tampa Bay Times on December 12th. Feels like something that would have happened when I was in high school many years ago. Classmates were scared to come forward, being told that it was their fault, not believed. Women grew up thinking that their voices didn't matter, that what happened to them, their pain, was less valid. And it didn't matter at all. I'd like to believe that my children are in a world where they aren't afraid, where their voices can be heard and their experiences are valid, that they matter. School should be a safe place, and it should be a place where students learn to speak up for themselves, to protect themselves, and that they matter and they deserve to be heard.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. I'm Allie Legg, and I'm here to talk about the proclamation that you guys are going to talk about today. So first and foremost, I would like to say that nobody under any circumstances should be bullied, right? We all understand that. However, I do have a question. So what exactly do you consider bullying when it comes to board members? Is it the fact that there are several forums on Facebook that are discussing what is actually happening in our schools? Obviously, there's a reason why there are these forums that are happening, these groups that are happening on Facebook. The people don't feel like they're heard or like they're valued. And it's not just the people that have hired you to serve. It is, you know, the staff and the teachers and the students that don't feel like they're heard as well. So, it's concerning that we're going to have a proclamation about cyberbullying. However, there's no proclamation for the pornographic material that's in our schools right now. There's no proclamation for the fights that have been happening in our schools right now, the physical assault that's going on with our students and our teachers from all the fights that are happening in several of our county schools. There's no proclamation to talk about the sexual abuse that's happening in our schools right now by many parents and students that have come forward and talked about this. There's actual evidence of this stuff that's happening, and yet there's no proclamation for that. So along the lines of being a public servant, right? You guys are elected and you are hired by the people. So if you cannot take public consideration or public criticism, right? If you can't take public criticism, you probably shouldn't be in office. You are here to represent the people that hired you to serve. We have a right to come forward and tell you what we feel and how we feel you are doing your job. And if you cannot accept that criticism, then you shouldn't be in public office. You need to find a different job. And when we come up and we say that we are going to vote you out, it's not a threat. We have that right. And that is our right to say that. And if you're taking that as a threat, then you are more concerned about holding a public office than you are about serving the people that have hired you in the first place. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it with as much passion as I possibly can. I know that there are several people in our county, hundreds of thousands of people in our county right now that are unhappy with what is happening on our school board with several of our issues. And in 22 and in 24, it is going to be a victory for we the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
I'm Catherine Mooring. Privacy is a human right and essential to our freedom. Maybe you keep your curtains open at night, install spyware like Ring and Alexa in your home, or put Chinese apps like TikTok and Zoom on your phone. Those are your choices. The school district doesn't get to decide what's right for a child. Parents do. Years of hard work protecting our children's digital footprint, irreversibly gone, thanks to you. You have a responsibility to protect the privacy rights of students. Ignorance of technologies you choose to deploy is no excuse. Florida's Constitution states, every natural person has the right to be let alone and free from governmental intrusion in their private life. Worse than that, you mandate intrusion from private and public companies that collect, research, and share data on children. Are school districts allowing companies to monetize data collected on children? In March 2020, Canvas was sold to private equity for $2 billion and then filed for an IPO this year. In March 2019, a former CEO of Canvas, of their parent company, reportedly said, quote, "We have the most comprehensive database on the educational experience in the globe. No one else has those data assets at their fingertips to be able to develop those algorithms and predictive models." He said one of their initiatives, first and foremost, a platform for machine learning and artificial intelligence, and we will deliver and monetize it. An investigation into a privacy complaint against EDSP was completed this year by the Office of the Privacy Commissioner of Canada. The investigation concluded EDSP, quote, lacked a comprehensive information security framework to protect the personal information of hundreds of thousands of students. Why haven't Florida legislators stopped the excessive use of data collection on children in schools? Why haven't you? You're trading our children's data for services. You said unless we digitize our child's private medical record and give it to some company, you would withhold sports from our children. Does that constitute extortion or just violate our constitutional rights? Are you violating our rights so you don't get sued when you can't keep track or responsibly collect paperwork? We wouldn't submit to your digital mandate when you attempted to extort our children's personal data like a pay-to-play scheme. Students pay with our personal data and digital privacy for access to play sports. Digital mandates are not least restrictive. We gave you all the paperwork you requested on paper, but you still kicked our children out of girls' basketball.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board and Superintendent Davis, thank you for the opportunity. My name's Thomas Rinaldo. I'm president of Troy & Banks Auditors. The Hillsborough School District hired my firm a couple years back. We do forensic utility auditing, telecom, lighting. Our audit was a great success. With over $2 million in overcharge refunds and savings to date. And I'm here due to the fact that above and beyond the $2 million that we've already found, we've also found and uncovered significant overcharges that are on the school's energy bills for many, many years in excess of millions. And it has to do with franchise fees collected on energy bills of anybody who's in the audience, and you look at your TECO bill and you'll see a franchise fee. We've discovered a significant error, and we're seeking to recover that on behalf of the county school district, as well as some $350,000 in additional overcharges from our audit. We're forensic overcharge specialists. So on December 1st, I sent a letter to Superintendent Davis with letters to the board members. Troy and Banks has spent a significant amount of time and effort conducting this audit on behalf of the district and in accordance with our contract. The company takes this responsibility very seriously, and the company would like to conclude this portion of our audit and recover costs that are due back to the county taxpayers. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. I'm Diana Williamson. At the last special called board meeting about maps, several board members stated it was of the utmost importance to keep the neighborhoods together. I've been speaking about that before. I've spoke about that before. It was of the utmost importance to keep the neighborhoods together. I found it very ironic since neighborhoods are split where students are split among different schools. We've had neighborhoods split up in the school district for decades. It is the most vulnerable neighborhoods such as Belmont Heights, Jackson Heights, University area, West Tampa, which a statement was made about there, that are affected the most. Yet we have the board members stating that it's very important to keep the voters together. We really need to keep the students together. Why is that not of the utmost importance? Students in District 5, they are bused to District 1, 2, 3, and 4, far as Brandon and South Tampa. Attendance boundaries have not been addressed for many, many years. They have not. And attendance boundaries affect attendance. They affect a parent's involvement, student behavior and morale. Transformation schools, which cost millions of dollars, that could be cut down just by doing attendance boundary, maneuvering them around. Overcrowding, underutilization, bus transportations. Students should not have to be bused to schools that they have no connection with nor feel welcomed. I understand I'm not here to speak to the board because I've spoke to the board. I'm here to speak to the community, the people at home that are watching this, the people in District 5 that allow their students to be bussed out. You need to speak up if you want change. That's the only way things are going to change. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Graham. I am a Hillsborough County constituent and vice chair of the Hillsborough County chapter of Moms for Liberty. I want to preface this by providing a graphic content warning. Here are some excerpts from a book called Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. There are currently 25 available copies of this book throughout Hillsborough County schools. They are there under the guise of educational content. I came home early from babysitting and see her coming out of some car in these tight-ass little shorts, talking fast, telling me she's about to leave me. I grabbed her by the neck and started punching her. She wanted to be all big and bad, trying to face me like a grown-ass woman. She gonna get beat like a grown woman. She started screaming, cursing at me, and carrying on. I threw her in the closet for a couple of days. She kept on screaming, begging to be let out, begging for water. Every time she made too much noise, I'd walk in and kick her. Jasper wasn't even my boyfriend, just this dude I did some hacking with once in a while. He was pretty basic, library systems, low security shit. Not in my league at all, but he had a big dick. And sometimes a girl just needs a big dick. I tiptoed toward the door, peering through the window at the boy, his pants around his ankles, squeezed between April's straddled legs as she lay on top of the teacher's desk. I gripped his arms and flipped him around, pushing him against the wall. His eyes widened, mouth dropping. "Hey, what are you doing?" He chuckled nervously. I took a deep breath before dropping down on my shaking knees, the ground cold. Me and Monday, we did do something. He took a deep breath. She sucked my dick. I didn't really want it to happen. It just kind of did. her top lip curled up. Wait a minute. Is that what was really going on? She did your homework and you ate her coochie? Is that why you crying? 'Cause Monday's not around to do your homework no more? I kept dancing, lost in the music, until some boy pushed up behind me, holding my hips. I froze, looking to Megan for help. She nodded and mouthed, "It's okay, it's cool. This is what girls do at parties," I told myself, and kept dancing with a boy I couldn't see, the alcohol making my waist wind faster. These are only short excerpts from a book that is deemed educationally sound enough to excuse the graphic content. What exactly do you think our kids are learning from this book? Sex in classrooms, alcohol as a student, blowjobs, big dicks? Like, this is what we're teaching our kids in school? This is what our taxpayer dollars are paying for? And this is one book out of a very large amount of books with far worse content.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. I am Scott Hodenstein, the president of the Democratic Public Education Caucus of Florida, and now a Kelly Services substitute teacher who's been back in the classroom a few days a week for about a month now. Before I share some observations from the classroom, I wanted to re-highlight the recent newspaper article about sexual assault in Hillsborough schools. This is now the third time that I've mentioned this horrific problem during public comment at a school board meeting. When are we going to take effective action on this serious issue? To remind you of the most recent results from 2019, 10.7% of Hillsborough high school students indicated on the Youth Risk Behavior Survey that they had been physically forced to have sexual intercourse that they did not want in the past year. 10.7%. That's 15 students a day. What are we doing to fix this? Back to my observations as a sub. I can tell you without a doubt that we have a gigantic Maslow problem in our schools. Without addressing this Maslow problem, we will never regain lost ground academically. Many students and their families are facing shelter and food insecurity. Many more have lost a relative or family friend to COVID. Employment and health uncertainties, including mental health concerns, are rampant. All of this erodes students' confidence that their most basic physiological and safety needs will be met on a daily basis. Just as critical to the students are the needs to be loved and to belong in a group. Teachers and other staff members, like bus drivers, student nutrition workers, counselors, school administrators, paraprofessionals, they're often the ones who meet these needs for students. But when teachers and staff are scarce and overworked and resources are unavailable or slow, what I call relationship gaps form. No academic gap will be closed when these relationship gaps exist. In fact, it's hard just to maintain discipline when these relationship gaps exist. Please redouble your advocacy efforts so that we could heal public education now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Rufus Del Valle. I'm the student on the front page of the Tampa Bay Times this Sunday. I'm with the story that documented years of sexual abuse, rape, and retaliation from this school district. And I came here today on a broken leg to tell you all how much pain you have put the students in your care through. The school district silenced me for 2 years after I made my report in 2019. And Miss Barnes, the reporter at the Tampa Bay Times, was the first one to get my story out. So today I am not going to be silent anymore. Today I speak for the over 50 people who have contacted me in just 2 days with their own stories who will never be told. I speak for the 22 people who spoke with Miss Barnes for the Tampa Bay Times report. I speak for my father, who is just now learning the pain that all these students have gone through. And I speak for the future children who will go to school in Hillsborough County and pray that they will never have to go through our pain. And finally today, I will speak for myself. I will give you all the benefit of the doubt that you already read the newspaper. So I'm here to tell you a story that wasn't in it. My first year of high school, when I was 14 or 15, a senior named Austin took a liking to me. He was my cool older friend until one day I found out he was contacting my little brother in middle school in a flirtatious way. An 18-year-old contacting a 13-year-old. I flew into a rage. I deleted every trace of Austin on my brother's phone, blocked him on every account, and outed him as someone who was flirting with kids at my high school. It cost me a lot. All of Austin's friends said I was being dramatic, that it was a joke, that my brother would be fine, but make no mistake, I saved my brother, but you all did not save me. You did not save anybody at this school. If you read the report, you will see so many people you let down. I have lived with this shame for so long, and today I wash myself of it. I give it to the people responsible. I give it to you all for failing all the children in Hillsborough County. I wash myself of this shame, and mark my words, if you ignore me today, you are just as much cowards as you have been for the past 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I guess my time has already started, so. And I think this actually ties in. My name is Julie Gebhards, and I'm here, again, 8 months ago when I read to you about the pedophile who described how he couldn't keep his mouth off of little girls' breasts, and then told you about the way the author commended him as a clean old man, saying his patronage of little girls was anything but lewd. I truly believe that you would be shocked and moved to do something big and immediately. I didn't imagine in a million years that any responsible adult could listen to that and not race to frantically figure out who was waging war on our kids like this and what you could do about it. Because that's exactly what happened to me as a parent when I discovered this material in our kids' schools. Have you searched your bookshelves? I imagined that everyone here would freak out that this was actually happening in real life, and I'm sick to my stomach to imagine that anyone would have turned a blind eye and a deaf ear to take no action, but here we are again. Lawn Boy. There are over 150 copies of this book. They're in every elementary school in our district, I believe. I could be wrong on that. Page 91. What if I told you I touched another guy's dick? What if I told you I sucked it? I was 10 years old, but it's true. I put Doug Goebel's dick in my mouth I was in 4th grade and it was no big deal. He sucked mine too. And you know what? It wasn't terrible. Page 74. Sorry, I did not give a graphic content warning. I'm so sorry. Page 174, he talked about old times at the church but never mentioned our penises or the fact that he never said 10 words to me after our little foray in the bushes. Not a single reference to holding or tugging or sucking dicks. All I could think about as he was chatting me up was his little salamander between my 4th grade fingers rapidly engorging with blood. What are we going to do about this? Are we going to sit back and ignore this again? I brought this 8 months ago and I knew there was more. I just have been searching and searching. It's not that hard to do and you can find this easily. What will you do about it? Our children are being at risk. They're being groomed. Who puts this kind of stuff in schools? It's pedophiles. This is the kind of stuff that pedophiles thrive on. They want this stuff in the hands of kids. It desensitizes them. It normalizes all of this. Sex with 4th grade boys? Are we kidding? 150 copies in our elementary schools. Are you aware that the sex industry is growing like wildfire? Do you know that Central Florida ranks in the top 5 in the country for human trafficking? And do you know that most kids are groomed into the industry and not forced? Your library books that are filled with all kinds of sexual content is helping feed this industry. Our society is deliberately tearing down the innocence of children. And I believe that when you start this in elementary school, you end up with kids in high school that are facing some of these things. And it's tragic under your watch.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Damaris Allen. It's been a week. I'm going to try not to cry. First, for the young man who spoke, thank you for your courage. And to say that we have to do better is an incredible understatement. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment that what I'm about to ask you is going to determine part of your future. It is going to determine your effectiveness as a school board member. It is going to determine how you move forward in the future. And I want you to see how you react when you know you probably don't know the answer to this question. If a body of 0.5 kilograms is whirled in a horizontal circle at a rate of 1,000 revolutions per minute, determine the angular velocity. Now, how many of you guys could do that? You don't have to answer. The reality is that probably, unless you took a physics class relatively recently, you probably don't remember how to do that and wouldn't be able to come up with the answer. Unfortunately, the reality is for our kids right now in our classrooms, a lot of them are taking altering tests on content they have not learned because we have a national teacher shortage. Tests are designed to to measure our ability to understand a subject matter. They're designed to see how effectively we're gaining that information. But when a student is never presented with the information, how is it fair to use that test, to allow it to change their GPAs, to allow that to alter potentially their ability to get into college, to make them question their own self-worth and their ability to understand content? But that is what we are doing. But really all we're saying is we have a national teacher shortage. This isn't their fault. So what are we doing for those kids? Are we going to continue to hold them accountable? Are we going to continue to make them feel terrible? Or do we have the flexibility to give them some grace? The grace I'm sure all of you would expect when I asked you that question, right? None of you wants to answer a physics question unless you're super nerdy like my youngest. So I'd like you to think about that. I know you guys can't make that decision, but when we're talking about students who are dealing with lots of stress, who are in a tremendous mental health crisis right now, do we really as a district want to be continuing to add to that stress and that pressure? Is that the best thing for our students? Is that really preparing them for life, or is that setting them up for failure? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, school board. My name is Jennifer Hart. I am a teacher and parent here in Hillsborough County. Thank you for allowing a teacher to speak at this time. It just makes more sense for elementary school teacher schedule. So I might have to change my speech around a little bit based on what this brave young man came up here and said. So just to kind of get some things out of the way. First, I did want to ask you guys to vote for MAP F for the redistricting process. It's the most fair and just map. It meets the most legal standards. It guarantees the most diversity in districts. And as my wise friend Veronica says, I love the way she puts it, constituents should pick their representatives and not the other way around. Second, I was going to kind of dive into this teacher pay, y'all. What are we going to do? And I know that we are having a budget crisis. I know this is largely brought on by who is elected in Tallahassee. I know as a teacher, I have since 2004 agreed to do my job every year with the understanding and what back in the day was an agreement that if I did my job to the best of my ability, I would receive my step raise every year. And I mean, by raise, I mean like maybe $1,000. It was never much, but that was okay. I was going to advocate for myself and my fellow teachers. I have a master's degree in elementary education. I've taught since 2004. I'm rated highly effective, and I do believe that I deserve more money, but I'm going to move it a little bit past teachers struggling or planning to leave the classroom because it kind of comes into this issue. We can't fix this. There's not enough bodies in the schools. This is going to get worse. The fights that Scott was talking about are going to get worse. Like it's scary. My husband is a high school teacher, and we financially struggle because we're both teachers. But outside of just us looking at the, my only child is leaving. It's his senior year. So, but I'm a little scared now for the people that are, coming up. So I know there was just a news report that there is, was just reported by Marlene Sokol that there's $70 million she feels in the budget that is maybe could be allotted for salaries or hiring people. She was told that it needs to stay in reserves. I'm not the expert on that, but I'm just kind of at a what are we going to do kind of point here. Can we look into the budget further? If we really don't have this money, how can we work together for more change in Tallahassee? Or can we work to put a millage tax on the ballot? We have to figure out before it's too late how to fund public schools, because if not, we're just that's a whole plan to defund public schools into failure so stuff like this happens so education can be privatized, and we pretty much all know it. So we kind of can't let that plan succeed. So I just want to know, I think teachers and school district and parents, I think that we can work together to really save our schools at this point, because that's horrifying. I'm so sorry. Also, please, public and school board, support resolution.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next speaker, please. Thank you.
Board members, Allison Fernandez. I know you've heard a variety of comments today. I'm here to actually talk to you about public access and sunshine. And a lot of the comments have been about not enough clarity or transparency in this district. And some of them have been about the fact that other school choices exist, and that's a concern with the budget. I'm here to tell you as an accountant, a former financial auditor, that a lot of the issues I have with this district also are with transparency. Where is the financial analysis every single month in front of the public? Where is the conversation out in front of the public? I know that you all are meeting individually with staff members. I'm not there. No one else is there. Where is the public conversation that says, this is what our funding is. This is why we have a shortfall. This is where the issues are. This is where we've made up some of it in grants, etc. Where is this conversation? I am perfectly willing to go and speak with all of the elected officials and tell them that the funding model needs to be adjusted or adapted, and here's where it is. What I am not willing to do is go and say we need more funding in a general sense when I and others believe that this district is not spending in a fiscally appropriate and responsible manner. And until I see the analysis and the discussion, I'm not going to know what the true cost of educating a student is. I know what what the funding is, but I really would love to see this district build the cost, not what you're spending allocated over students, but what it costs. You start with your required legal requirements such as debt funding, your teacher agreements, your staff agreements, fund what it costs for an elementary student, a middle school student, and a high school student. Then when we have the true cost, and we can take that to the public and we can discuss it with the public and with the elected officials in Tallahassee. Until then, why are we denigrating parents who are making choices to go to other schools? Charter schools, and my children didn't go to charter schools. They are straight up public schools, King High School all the way. But I'm not going to tell another parent that if they've had bad experiences or if they don't trust this district, that they don't have any choices. And when parents take their child out of a traditional setting, the money goes with that child. If the child comes back, eventually it does get rebalanced, but you're also not considering the children that leave the public school system after the 20-day count and go to another setting because of maybe experiences they've had in the year. So again, where's the financial analysis? Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to call a brief recess for 10 minutes. Superintendent Davis?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Chair Combs. I just want to take a minute to thank the speakers that came this evening, and also for this community to truly understand that the superintendent and I have been briefed on the specifics related to the very complex matter at Blake High School, which took place from 2016 to 2019. While this information is very sensitive, please know that we cannot, as a educational leader or the board, be able to speak in specifics related to this particular issue due to the fact that we have private student information, and by law we have to protect that information. But please note that we will continue to address and ensure that every one of our learners have a safe environment and that it continue to be protected every single day. But please know that our silence isn't one that doesn't signify that we do not care, but we just have to follow rules and regulations related to being able to share information. But please understand, we'll continue to focus on the potential impact that may have occurred or may not have occurred related to that particular time. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please keep your comments to public comment. Okay, we'll go ahead and take a brief recess at this time. Thank you. 30 seconds, everyone, please. Mind your places. The meeting is now re-adjourned. We are going to now move on to our proclamations. A01, adoption of proclamation, School Board of Hillsborough County Public School denouncing cyberbullying and threats against public officials. Member Vaughn will be presenting this proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A proclamation of the School Board of Hillsborough County, whereas the United States of America was founded on the principles of democracy and freedom of expression, and whereas the Constitution of the United States provides for freedom of speech in the First Amendment to the Constitution, and whereas the School Board of Hillsborough County fully supports the Constitution of the United States freedom of speech, and whereas the School Board of Hillsborough County encourages public discourse through public comment at school board meetings, and whereas across the United States, school boards are seeing an alarming rise in violent rhetoric and threats at school board meetings and on other platforms, and whereas school board members across the nation have received death threats, endured online abuse, and have had to seek police protection, and whereas school board members across the nation have been the subject of personal social media attacks and cyberbullying, and whereas online attacks against school board members have included family members, their children, and whereas violence and threats have no place in our school board meetings. Therefore, let it be proclaimed on this 14th day of December 2021, the School Board of Hillsborough County proclaims, 1, that the public discourse on issues impacting students and the school district are strongly encouraged, and 2, that violent threats and cyberbullying is denounced. Madam Chair, if I may I say a word about this since I brought forward this proclamation?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. I know we're probably going to go ahead and make a motion and then have discussion about it, but before we got into that, I wanted to make some clarifications because we had a speaker here tonight who wanted an example of what bullying was and some of the things that we're discussing that I discussed in this proclamation. So I pulled the definition of bullying from the state statute against cyberbullying within our schools and against employees in schools. Cyberbullying includes and means systematically and chronically inflicting physical hurt or psychological distress on one or more people that may involve teasing, social exclusions, threats, intimidations, stalking, physical violence, theft, sexual, religious, or racial harassment, public or private humiliation, destruction of property, and harassment, which means any threatening, insulting, or dehumanizing gesture. And as we go forward, and we have discussion about this, I'll give specific examples of what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to clarify that for the proclamation, because again, we had some speakers here. So thank you very much, and we'll see how this goes.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. I need a motion and a second to approve the School Board of Hillsborough County, Florida, denouncing cyberbullying and threats against public officials. I have a motion by Member Washington, and I have a second by Member Perez. Is there any discussion? Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. After the workshop this morning, I feel like this is a bit contradictory to kind of what we were talking about, because we spoke about proclamations specifically this morning and how they should truly be student-centric. And I feel like this is very school board member-centric and public official-centric and not necessarily student-centric. And so I believe that if we're going to do proclamations, as Member Perez stated this morning, they should be centered around our students and celebrating our students or educating our students or supporting our students. So in my opinion, my personal opinion, this feels very self-centered as a school board member and public official, or self-serving. I understand the concerns that you have about bullying, cyberbullying, threats and of that type of nature. We do have local law enforcement protection. I do trust my local law enforcement to protect me as a school board member and public official. I do feel that they do an outstanding job protecting us. There is Florida statute already in place that addresses protecting public officials, making sure that that we are protected by local law enforcement when necessary. And the Florida School Board Association actually adopted a similar proclamation when this was discussed with the National School Board Association. And you may remember after this FSBA Board of Directors meeting in October, I brought some information back. I didn't put forth that proclamation at that time because, again, I felt like it was self-serving and it really wasn't about students. It was about public officials and school board members. But what I would say is, I'm not in favor, unfortunately. I'm not going to be able to support the proclamation today as it stands right now. I would be interested if there's consensus, if the board really wants to approve a proclamation, I would be happy to share the Florida School Board Association proclamation that's already been approved by our school board districts across the state. I'm happy to share that with you. I brought copies for everyone, but I'd really like to hear some more discourse on it before we make any decisions. But while we listen to discourse, I'll be happy to distribute the Florida School Board Association proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Slively. Thank you, Member Slively. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we did have a discussion earlier today at the workshop, and I know that some things we have retroactively decided moving forward, and some things are still standing. Again, this was brought forward, and we voted as a board to put it on the agenda at the last meeting. And you know, I understand that a lot of our proclamations going forward want to be student-centered, and I think that's good. But I think we also need to talk about publicly, whether we decide to make a proclamation or not, whether or not we're going to stand for some of the abuse that's happening, not just to school board members, but to elected officials online, in person. You know, all of us are going to be privy to these at some point. And what I'm talking about that I've seen is not just needing police protection. Some of us have needed that. Some of us have decided that we're not going to take the police protection. But what I'm talking about is where people are not just talking about the issues, where I'm not talking about parents coming to our school board. I encourage parents to come. I encourage everyone from our community to come and speak about anything related to the decisions that we're making and hold us accountable. I absolutely think that everyone should be able to talk about whether they want to vote elected officials out or whether or not they want to hold them accountable through elections. However, what I don't think we should support is websites where they intentionally misgender specific board members in an attempt to humiliate them. Websites or people saying publicly, calling members specific genitalia, spreading lies about school board members, their families in an attempt to humiliate them. Personal attacks, sharing photos of their families online, their neighbors, attacking board members' personal appearance repeatedly over and over again, being called excrement publicly on websites, horrible ableist terms, discussing board members' personal choices when it comes to parenting. And I could go on and on and on to the things that are common and being supported online, but I think other people want to have the chance to have a discussion, so I digress.
Yes, thank you, Member Vaughn, and you can please get back in the queue if you'd like. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Member Vaughn. There are some good points in this proclamation that are agreeable. Whereas the United States of America was founded on principles of democracy, freedom of expression, and I'm going down the first four tenets of the proclamation regarding the Constitution, freedom of speech. All of that is consistent with the Florida School Boards Association. And it's not a good rule to be, let's just say, vague. But if we are children-centered, and that's what our momentous mission statement is, then our proclamations should be revolving around the welfare of our children. It looks like we deviated on this proclamation. We deviated when it got into whereas school board members across the nation have received death threats, endured online abuse. I would believe that is true, but then when we get into it again with school board members, and we're mentioning school board members, and then on the next line, online attacks against school board members, what happens is we're not saying anything about our children, nor is that matching the strategic plan. So I think this is an important push to look at. I have no disagreement, but I can't support the proclamation that does not support and share the welfare and safety of our children within the proclamation. It is probably happening. I don't do the Facebook, etc. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm having all kinds of bad things said about me, no doubt. But at any rate, I do think that we have to be a little bit larger in our scope of concern and make sure that proclamations spell out the safety and welfare of children as well. And that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Perez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a therapist and as a behavioral therapist, our children watch what we do. So when it comes to this proclamation, we have to remember that this does have our children in mind, because our children mimic us. When the parents bring their children to this meeting to speak to us as Board of Hillsborough County Schools, and they come to speak to this board, and they witness parents' behaviors towards us as elected officials representing their schools. This sends a message to our children, to our students, how they are to behave towards elected officials, how they are to speak to elected officials, how they treat elected officials. And I think we set the tone in our schools for our children in preparing our students for life. And I think this proclamation is helping them in their preparation for life and how they are to act and behave. But it also helps as parents how they are to act and behave when they are here in front of us as elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Perez. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Combs. First, let me just say violence or the imminent threat of violence, I think we can all agree is unacceptable. I too have had photos shared of my children on social media for over a year now. I no longer really share anything personal on social media. Certainly am not in my family. I have had threats in the past few months, as we all have, physical threats from my family, my children. They had my address. I've had police in front of my house for weeks at a time over the past few months. So I'm very sympathetic, Member Vaughn, to everything that you shared. And I'm sorry that you're experiencing it, and we're all experiencing it. As Ms. Gray said, Member Gray, she's right. There are some good points in the proclamation, absolutely. But I would urge us to be careful, because it's also important that our civic institutions and public servants who lead those institutions model respect for the freedom of assembly and expression. And serving in public office for the past 3 years, I've had more of an acute sense of the importance of engaging with stakeholders. And it's no exaggeration to say that at times their anger or frustration has made me a better public servant. in that it's caused me to re-examine at times my own ideology on certain subjects. So that's been a very healthy exchange. And, you know, parents are very passionate about their children, and we make decisions that impact their children. So yes, at times they're going to be angry and frustrated, and that's going to come out here in our public comment. So just a word of caution, I would say, to those who cast angry constituents as a threat, or the act of disrupting an open meeting as a threat, because in the vast territory of civic anger and frustration, I believe, lies the opportunity for growth and enlightenment and better decision-making among public servants who are willing to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Snively?
Thank you. This is good discussion that we're having, different points of view, and I appreciate the perspective that Ms. Perez took with regard to being role models for our children and showing how to behave in front of public officials. Perhaps we consider changing this particular proclamation from a denouncement to an encouragement of civic discourse, instead of denouncing. We already do denounce bullying. October is anti-bullying month, and so we had a proclamation in October that that addressed bullying, including all the list that you shared with us, Member Vaughn. So I don't know if this is something that at this point we would table, rework, and bring back to the board, a proclamation that maybe involves more of encouraging the exchange of ideas in a safe environment, rather than a denouncement. And if that's something that if that would, I don't know if it's a friendly amendment or just we table the motion until the next board meeting where we can agree on what the proclamation looks like.
I think that, Madam Chair, if I may, I think there are a couple ways to proceed.
Yes, Mr. Porter.
Yeah, there are a lot of still people that want to speak, board members that want to speak. I think we could try to rewrite it before tonight and bring it back before the end of the meeting, or if you want to, if the consensus is that you want to bring this back at the next board meeting, we could do that, or if Ms. Vaughn wants to proceed tonight and take a vote. I think there are different ways to proceed depending on what the board census is. What I'm hearing is that there's an appreciation that the First Amendment and public speech matters, and this board values that, and that also there are concerns about violence and modeling for students. And it sounds like a lot of the concerns are with wording and with the sort of what the focus is. And if we get some consensus with that, we'd be happy to rewrite that and bring it back after the rest of you end up speaking. But I think you have several options in front of you tonight, depending on which way the board wants to go.
Yes, and before I go through the speakers, Member Vaughn, I just wanted to see, before we go through all of that, would you be willing to put this to the side with the FSBA proclamation and try to marry that together and just relook at the proclamation so we can have, all the...
Absolutely. I'd like to share some more thoughts, but I'm always open to making something more collaborative and finding wording that meets in a compromise. Absolutely. If that pleases the board, for sure.
I think it would be great if we go ahead and just move this out to the next meeting. It'll give you time to look at that, the FSBA, and also get feedback. So that way, when we have a proclamation, we have a unanimous proclamation for that, because I do think it's very important that we do that. Yes, Mr. Porter, do we need to make a motion for that then?
Yeah, so what I want to say is a motion on the floor. So the appropriate motion would be to continue this to the next board meeting and to bring back a revised proclamation based on the board member comments.
Move to continue.
So there's a motion on the floor.
We need a second to the continue.
Move to continue. Is there a second?
Oh, Mr. Washington seconded.
Okay, there's a second by Mr. Washington, and we'll go ahead and vote when your lights appear. Please vote when your lights appear, if you'd like to. And it's unanimous, so this will continue at the next meeting or somewhat in the near future. Okay, thank you very much, board members. I now need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Hahn. Please vote when your lights appear. and it passes unanimously. Okay, we will now begin the discussion agenda. The following items will now be heard: C-201, C-601, C-603, C-609, C-610, C-708, C-709, and C-711. C-201, approve the memorandum of agreement for the Transformation Fellows Program between the University of South Florida, the University of Tampa, and Hillsborough Community College. Addison Davis will now highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am, to the chair. This is a really cool initiative. When we started to be faced with the pandemic, we knew that we had to do something differently to be able to eliminate the learning loss that took place related to COVID. With a number of federal dollars being able to transition and being able to extend it from federal government to school districts, we're trying to find proactive solutions to be able to bolster instructional capacity, but at the same time being able to target students who are most vulnerable within our school district. And in that process, we really thought about what could we do with these dollars to be able to maximize our seat time, our instructional time, to be able to help children, and in the same token be able to help potentially recruit and retain staff within our school district. We know our teachers are really working so hard, and especially in our transformational network, to be able to bring and partner with entities to bring fellows within our classrooms to be able to help with small group instruction, to expedite and accelerate the learning. Is not only going to help that child excel, but it's also going to free up the teacher to be able to do some different things in his or her classroom. So initially we thought about leveraging the money to hire interventionists, but with the national shortage of educators, what a better way to be able to look in our backyard and to partner with post-secondary education institutions such as the University of South Florida here this evening, along with the University of Tampa and Hillsborough Community College, and to identify university and college level students who will provide ongoing academic supports to the 45 schools. So being able to, this fellowship will allow us to pay college and university students $15 an hour to be able to work 15 to 25 hours per week to truly concentrate on students who need us the most. And I'm going to let Shay McRae highlight this further and introduce the individuals that are here tonight who have dedicated their time, their resources, and efforts to be able to make this a reality. And this is a major win for our children and also for our partnership. Shay?
Thank you so much. I am so excited to really bring to you our local colleges and universities. They are joining hands with K-12 education to help us in our transformation network kind of close learning loss and accelerate learning. Tonight we have with us partners from USF, Dr. Laura Sabella. She's the Director of Field and Clinical Education, Secondary Education. She's also the Director for SCAT, which is Suncoast Area Teacher Training, as well as Tutorable. We're excited to have you here tonight. Dr. Ann Cranston Gingras, she's the Professor and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, the Director for Center of Migrant Education. She's with us here tonight. Elizabeth Ingerser, she is the Director of Communications with the College of Education, as well as Dr. R. Anthony Roll, who is the Dean of the College of Education here with USF. Very excited to have our USF partners. We are also joined by University of Tampa, who also agreed to join hands with us. We have Mary Tankersley. She is the Clinical Education Director with the Education Department. We also have Megan Silva, who's a lecturer in the Department of Education, and she's the coordinator for secondary and clinical education. After having a great conversation with Dr. Hahn is the one who suggested we can't leave out St. Leo. And so we did make some contacts and communication, and St. Leo said, you know what, we want to be on board too. So very excited to have St. Leo join us in this partnership. And we have Dr. Holly Atkins, who's the Associate Professor and the Chair of Undergraduate Education Department at St. Leo, also be here with us this evening. And then we have our Vice President for Academic Affairs with Hillsborough Community College, that is Richard Senker. And so this partnership will mark a very unique partnership where we have post-secondary with our K-12 education and bringing all of our educational partners together here in Hillsborough. So very excited to bring this to Hillsborough County, very excited to partner with them with Transformation Network. And I just want to thank everybody for their partnership with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank each of you.
Thank you so much, Ms. McCray. I need a motion and a second to approve item C201. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Hahn. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was not expecting all that, so welcome. Also, I heard someone talk about scat. I was a scatter. Member Combs was a scatter. I wrote for the scatter chatter, so... But I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to highlight this item because we get so many questions and concerns about what are we doing about the staffing shortage? What are we doing to get people in our schools? And I think it's important to highlight everything that we're doing, every agenda item where we're thinking outside of the box, where we're building partnerships with education leaders to make sure that we have, people in our schools that we're recruiting. Hopefully we'll get people who fall in love with education and become passionate about it and get more educators. So I'm excited about this item. Thank you, Dr. Hahn, for casting the circle wider. And I just wanted to highlight it to show that we are trying to make sure that we can do everything we can to support our schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank Member Shea McCray. The outreach to all of these wonderful partners is without a doubt critical to the children's success. And I know that we're looking, the superintendent inclusively, we're looking for other wonderful opportunities because, and actually we heard from the public, the decline of meeting the academic needs of our student, the possibility of an upward spiral of discipline. There are so many reasons why we need to fill the void. And you all are just such true givers to education, and these are the children that need it the most. And you have your work cut out for you, the population that will be coming into the classrooms. But we're ever so grateful. And so I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Combs. So as a UF graduate, and I worked at USF for most of my career as a professor and then as Director of Community Partnerships and Engagement, I always call myself a bull gator, which is a pretty tough gator. I mean, I think it's the toughest around. So I feel like I have a really good combination instilled in me that I carry a lot of pride. But I just want to thank Shay because, school-university partnerships are so important to the work we do, both in the school district and in our colleges and universities. And it was really something that was always the focus of my work, when I was at USF. And it's a win-win for sure, like the superintendent said. We want to build that pipeline for our urban schools. We want our teachers coming out of our colleges and universities to be able to hit the ground running when they come into, all of our school districts and work with children in the urban core. So I'm so excited about this opportunity, and I am glad that we have a number of our colleges and universities coming together because this is a national problem. It's not specific to Hillsborough County, whether you're talking about building a diverse teacher workforce or whether you're talking about just recruiting teachers into the field or growing our own, right? Getting them excited and connected to our school district while they're still studying in college so that when they do graduate from these great institutions, they stay right here in Hillsborough County and in our schools, and they'll be really ready to do that. So I'm very excited about this, and thank you all from USF, UT St. Leo, and HCC. Thank you for being here tonight and celebrating this partnership with us. And I know that there's many, many more in our future together, and I'm very excited about that. So thank you all.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Shay McWright, for doing a great job. Partnerships is wonderful. I love it. Like Tony the Tiger said, it's great to have this partnership here. And thank you all, because we have to do something to make the education system operate. And I think with this great partnership, we can do it, Sue. We can do it. We can do it. And thank y'all so much. And thank you, too, Shay, and all your staff for all that you do. And thank y'all.
Thank you, Member Washington. And just one comment. I just wanted to thank all of you for coming here. I know it's such a busy schedule at this time to come. And I know, as someone who went into USF not knowing they're going to be an educator. Having a small internship is what led me to go into education. So I know that this type of opportunity is going to really, once we get the students in there, they're going to realize how much of an impact they can make and how wonderful it is to work with students. So I want to thank all of you, Ms. McCrae, for bringing this. I think this is great, and hopefully we'll expand this and this will continue, because I do think that children, when they see young students coming in, they really can connect with those students really well, and I think it's a win-win all the way around. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you very much. Next is item 601. Oh, I'm sorry. Please vote when your lights appear.
That's right. Got to vote.
I feel like it's going to be unanimous. And it is.
Awesome. Congrats. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Doc. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Next up is 601, purchase approval for White Fleet vehicles. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. 601 is the purchase of White Fleet vehicles. Over the last 21 months, we've had really difficult time being able to purchase White Fleet from on the state bid. We know that there is a vehicle shortage with new vehicles, all related to being able to make certain they have the computer chips and the necessary parts. So what this what it has done is really delayed being able to get logistics, some of our supplies to our schools. We have some of our White Fleet that is unfunctional. So what we're asking the board to do to be able to seek permission to receive quotes from multiple vendors across the state and to negotiate the lowest price possible. This will be $1 million to use out of millage funding, which is the proper resource to do so, and it would probably be able to purchase 50 vehicles related to for vehicle vans, service vehicles to be able to transport any necessities to one school to the next, and also being able to allow our individuals that are in maintenance be able to get to one location to the next location as well. So we'll be very mindful to be able to push the local vendors who may have accessibility to these vehicles to be able to buy 3 or 5 at a time. It's just been very difficult to do so, and we haven't been able to do it in the last 21 months. Mr. Farkas, anything you want to add?
Just one quick thing. The problem we have now is we have 2 guys riding in a truck instead of doing 1 at every school because we don't have enough trucks. We've been unable to buy them. So it actually saves us money if we're able to buy these vehicles. So we appreciate the flexibility to go out and report and buy in a different way. We will ensure that we bring back to the board everything that's purchased and everything that we're able to buy in that contract. So we're excited with that opportunity because it really has been a huge challenge, as everyone experiences in the world right now with the shortages. So we look forward to that opportunity. Thank you.
And to that point, we put out an RFP and no one responded to the RFP. So this is why we just have to go in the last 21 months, just go out and try to find these vehicles.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve item 6, CO1. I have a motion by Member Snively, and I have a second by Member Gray. Member Gray, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question, Superintendent Davis, going right through you. I am just wondering when Mr. Farkas brings this forward, is he integrating the conversation with our CFO? And I ask this because we have to be ever so careful. We're at $1 million here. And I just want to make sure that she's equally informed and if it affects our fund balance.
Yes, ma'am, to the chair.
Superintendent Davis, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Farkas.
Mr. Farkas?
Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, Corey Murphy is part of that, obviously, and Ms. Johnson's team. They were the ones that put out the RFP originally without any takers, and that they're part of the conversation. It is millage funding, so it will not affect the fund balance because it's coming 100% from the millage funds, which have been used to purchase vehicles for previous years.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Please vote when your lights appear. Okay. Passes unanimously. Thank you. C, 603, Agreement of Technical Services with Pacific Research and Evaluation for the Department of Defense Activity, World Language Advancement and Readiness Grant Project. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. On September 30th, 2021, Hillsborough County was awarded with a 5-year grant related to around $1.6 million for the Department of Defense, and that was all about being able to expand world language and at the same time being able to address the readiness grant. So this would be the expansion of our Spanish immersion program, and to be able to bridge a biliteracy program within our school district. The first year we will address and launch this with Dawson, at the same time Summerfield. And what we're asking in this particular item is to bring forward to acknowledge that within the grant we have to identify an evaluator to ensure that we're in compliance with the scope of work, and that evaluator will cost a little bit over $12,000 to do so.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve item 6C03. I have a motion by Member Snively, and I have a second by Member Perez. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Question? Thank you.
Yeah, I just like to, anytime we have a grant where there is a piece of it that is allocated within the grant that we have to pay an outside consultant a portion of that grant. I like to highlight it because I know the public is very concerned with our finances and trying to figure out where money goes. And a lot of times you look at all the grants you get, and I just like to reiterate, I talk about it quite often, that a lot of the money that we get is either categorical or it has, other clauses where we have to pay a portion of it to an outside consulting company to manage that. So I just wanted to highlight this item that, out of this grant, we do have to hire a consultant company and put a portion of that towards it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Perez?
How will we be following the money as far as what schools are affected with this grant?
Yes, ma'am. In this grant, we identified a number of schools for implementation. As I said, the first year is going to be Dawson and Summerfield. The second year, we will transition and open this up to Lanier and West Shore. And then we will transition to be able to expand this to Barrington and Randall Middle School for the implementation. And then eventually, potentially engage Robinson High School as well. So in that grant, very, very explicit, being able to identify schools, identify leaders who really, want to be able to implement this initiative. And this will be really cool because 50% of the content will be taught in Spanish. So to be able to see that sequence of interaction by biliteracy within our classrooms, it's only going to really help our children in the long run.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Davis and Member Perez. Member Gray?
No, you must have been reading my notes here because, on the Hispanic Forum, they're very excited about representing the Hispanic Latino communities. And also it just shares with our constituents, the public, the universe of diversity, and we're trying our best to meet the needs of our diverse populations. And I'm going to visit, I'm visiting Barrington, I believe, tomorrow, so I'll check on their world languages. But thank you for putting this. Who put this forth anyway?
This Academic Services.
Mr. Connor, thank you. Very good, very good. Thank you.
Right. We gotta work
Board members, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next is item 6, C09, Agreement for Technical Service with Teach for America. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. Teach for America. This is an initiative for us to really try to find ways to fill the gaps and voids that we're experiencing. As I said, our teachers are going over and beyond, be able to cover classrooms, to be able to take T-payroll if they're at the secondary level, to teach students before, during, or after school, absorb other students. It's happening not only here but across the state and across this nation. So being able to find a solution to help us and assist us with this process, Teach for America does that. Teach for America is the largest source of educators serving students in low-income communities. With that said, they were founded in 1990, and of that, they have over 60,000 alumni that continue to serve that have served within needing school districts and urban school districts across this nation. Of that, 63% of the individuals that transition to Teach for America stay in K-12 education. And in the state of Florida, there's a number of school districts that implement this strategy. That is Duval County, you have Orange County, Miami-Dade. You'll see in all three of those counties, they've had around a 52% retention rate related to the individuals that they bring on board. And this is all contingent on the actual needs. Some school districts may ask for 400 or 500 individuals positions to be filled. At this particular time in Hillsborough County, we're only asking Teach for America to identify up to 40 instructional teachers to help us fill positions starting in the transformational network. Currently, we have, as you know, close to 100 vacancies in the transformational network. So being able to bring 40 will be able to help us serve close to 800 students within our school district. In that side of it, we're not asking for brand new teachers. There's two phases. Teach for America has brand new teachers that they start, and you've got to plan a year and a half to bring them to your organization. So they stay 2 years, and then after that, they either transition to their next profession, or they are 52% in Florida stay in education. We're asking them to go after alumni teachers that have already been trained on comprehensive strategies of understanding standards, pedagogy, connecting with students on mental health. So there's around 1,500 eligible alumni that are in the state of Florida. We're going to ask them not only to recruit those individuals, but also throughout this nation to bring them back and fill these 40 positions. And I think this is a good initiative to start a relationship and to start small. This will be able to pilot within the Transformation Network to determine the overall implementation. And we continue to work with them to be able to potentially grow this if we see there's going to be potential positive impact within our schools.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve item 6C09. I have a motion by Member Gray, and I have a second by Member Washington. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have a question or comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, this was another thing where we're working hard and thinking outside of the box and building partnerships to get more people and more teachers within our schools. I would like to ask, I know that when I talked about this agenda item with staff, we are putting in a request for 40. We weren't sure if they were going to be able to accommodate that. So I'd like to have an update of what we ended up, agreeing to and what they were able to fulfill, and to follow up with this to find out, how this worked out for us. So that would be my ask for this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And a little bit repetitive when we talk about the state of emergency with not having enough teachers, the teacher shortage, and then conversely, we might worry that are we going against the grain of, say, the CTA, a very important partner. They have actually endorsed this situation to gain more teachers. And the simple reason is because they're seeing the huge need. I mean, we have administrators covering classes, we have custodians, food service. There's such a shortage, and teachers don't get their planning periods. So I think it's time that we think outside the box. I want to say I appreciate Superintendent Davis for doing exactly that, because if we don't do something, guess who suffers? Our children. And that's probably the most important statement we can possibly make. We must take care of our children. They are the valued clients of ours, for lack of better words. And I see that in the Orange County, Miami-Dade, it does improve the graduation rate, which is another factor, and I'm sure board members can read through as well. But there's a lot of benefits. Superintendent Davis, what's the cost on this? It's always a... and actually, Member Snively before me. So,
yes, Mr. Chair, it's going to be up to $200,000 on top of salary. So whatever the individual qualifies for, based on our collective bargaining agreement, do they transition into the education due to their being alumni, and then it'd be up to $200,000 additional, and that goes through a number of opportunities to help them, whether it be potentially recruiting, whether it be relocating. It's also about professional development that they have to continue to go through, and our role and responsibility would be to work every single day to recruit these individuals, to retain them in our school district. And I'm so thankful for Rob Creepy. He's the first individual that I went to this initiative and had a conversation with, because we wanted him to feel comfortable about this process and know that we were not in any way, shape, or form being able to circumvent the work of what he did for teachers. And he'll be at the table as soon as we onboard those individuals. He'll stand beside me, because he continues to do good work and be a great partner in this.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Gray. Thank you, Superintendent Davis. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just to be clear, we're paying for a referral service. This money is not going to teachers. This money is going to someone who locates alumni who have at least 2 years of teaching experience to place in our schools. I just wanted to make sure we're clear on what we're paying for. And then you had mentioned, what were the counties, the other school districts you mentioned that already use Teach for America?
Yes, ma'am. It's Duval County, Miami-Dade, and Orange County.
And do you know how long they've been using Teach for America?
Through the chair, I was in Duval County many years ago, and when I was a principal, I think back in 2010, 2000, and that we used them as a principal. I used them in at Terry Parker Senior High School, and they were remarkable.
Awesome. One, I don't know if you'll have the answer to this. I apologize for not asking ahead of time, but what is the retention rate for some of those other districts, if you have an idea, or if you want to take a stab at guessing what the average retention rate is after a 2-year period? Or are they being retained longer than 2 years generally?
Yes,
where
ma'am,
they teach?
It's 52% in the state of Florida.
52%.
Across the nation, it's 63%, but it's 52% as of right now.
Okay, so generally.
Yes, ma'am.
Across the state. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next is C610 is Amendment 3 with EduPoint Educational System for additional sources to implement Synergy Student Information Systems. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. And through the chair, July 30th, 2019, the school board elected to transition its student information system and transition to EduPoint. I do believe that this is a solid move. In that process, it was a 5-year agreement. We have, in that process, there was a lot of work to be done to be able to set up our infrastructure to make the transition. We will start making the transition in 22-23 as we will transition to Gradebook, and then 23 to 24 as everything will transition in the school district. And this is being able to come to ask the board to be able to hire a consultant. That individual will assist with data conversions to be able to make certain that we have the necessary ESE, and MTSS integration to be able to make certain we fill any potential legacy gaps with the school information system, configure schools, be able to look at all of our securities, and be able to set up any necessary systems for address and state reporting. So this is a necessity. I would not bring this you can ask Dr. Weeks. I put him to the ringer related to determine whether or not we actually needed this consultant. But if we're going to make certain this is a reality and get our return on investment to move to a new informational system, we need this individual to help us with that bridge.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. I need a motion and a second to approve item 6C10. I have a motion by Member Gray, and I have a second by Member Washington. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have spoken with Mr. Weeks about this, and I really appreciate him taking the time. However, as we're kind of going through the financial crisis that we've been going through, and as we've gone through bargaining, and we're getting emails from teachers right now talking about the inability to give them and our ESPs and our most valuable employees any kind of COLA or step raise, to me, paying $250,000 to implement and and bring in a consultant for software that we're purchasing, I can't support this item at this point. So I just wanted to say why I'm going to be voting no on this, and it's not to do any harm or detriment to the district. I understand that you would only bring this forward if you think it's very, very important, but at the same time, I think that while we need to move our systems forward and technology, it's one of the biggest complaints. We also need to balance that with looking at ways to find and support our teachers and staff. So I will be voting no on this item. Thank you.
Superintendent Davis, I know you had a comment. Thank you, Member Vaughn.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate Mrs. Vaughn's stance related to that, and I do agree that anytime we can be able to show we care and value our employees, we should. We will, while this says and identified as general fund, we will be able to get a majority of this money reimbursed through E-rate, and this, we get E-rate federal dollars that allows us to address whether it be communication, internet services, devices, switches, and this will qualify for it. So we get pretty much for every dollar that we spend, we get around 80 cents back for reimbursement, and we will link this to reimbursement to be able to make sure we don't impact general fund at scale.
Thank you. Member Vaughn, did you have any further comments? Okay. Member Perez?
I'm glad you brought up the E-rate. At what rate and what time do we get reimbursed? Is it 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later? What's the rate
So
of reimbursement?
In actuality, we've actually received the funding that we're going to be using to cover this. So we had received a reimbursement for our wireless project that we completed over the last year. And the 80 cents on the dollar that came back from that was put back into the general fund that IT had appropriated. We're actually using that money that came back in to fund this piece. So we've already received the reimbursement from a previous project. So this was money that wasn't necessarily accounted for initially at the start of the year because we didn't know how much we would be getting reimbursed until the Fed and the FCC actually gave us the particular amount. We received approximately $980,000 back this year as part of the E-rate reimbursement for those previous projects, and we're going to be spending part of that to cover this expense.
Sir.
And Superintendent, where does that show up when the CFO provides us with the financial, with our financial, where does that show up? Because I never remember, I've not heard of her talking about this.
Through the chair, are we speaking about E-rate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can make sure we identify that and within the bucket. Ms. Johnson, anything you want to address related to where that funding may be? There's categorical probably in general.
Sorry about that. Good evening, board members. It's part of our revenue. We'll update you guys on the revenue resource received to date on E-rate.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Member Perez. Do you have any further comments?
How long have we been receiving this reimbursement?
For many years.
Just since I've been here in 2005, we've received reimbursement on 2 different wireless projects, and that has added up to, I believe, $14 or $15 million in the past 6 years. We can seek buckets of money basically every year. We're on a 5-year cycle that FCC actually approves for us. And so we're actually going to be moving forward seeking additional projects through E-rate. And again, that funding we will be looking at spending the dollar, and we will be looking at receiving approximately 80 cents back on every dollar we spend.
Yeah, I just feel that's important to have a categorical for us to understand this money coming in to us.
Part of miscellaneous local revenue that we get in, E-rate is part of that resource. We'll go through that in
but
detail.
when
Yes.
it's when it's miscellaneous, we don't know what miscellaneous is. Yeah.
Okay, what we'll do is maybe what we can do is at the next meeting, Ms. Johnson, you can or provide us some information so we can look at that through Superintendent Davis. We'll follow up with each board member and provide that, maybe even the last 2 reimbursements and what that looks like. Okay, thank you. Member Snively?
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 things. One, I appreciate your focus on technology. If you recall from the Gibson Consulting Report, established back in 2016 that this was an area of desperate need of attention because we were several years behind in technology. But to Ms. Vaughn's point, perhaps, and I don't know if this would have changed your position, but perhaps a more detailed explanation of how the funding mechanism works could have been included on the agenda so that it doesn't appear that we are not getting reimbursed or a portion is getting reimbursed back into our general fund. Because the average individual looking at this agenda item would not know that 80 cents on the dollar is coming back to the school district. And so I would recommend that staff maybe provide further detail explanation when it comes to the finances, just so that we can avoid any confusion or misunderstanding about where the money's going, and for the public too, because as a citizen looking at this agenda item, they're not going to know that either unless it's explained in the detail. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. Please vote when your lights appear. Okay, and it passes 6-1 with Vaughn descending. Okay, next we will go to employee comment, because it's right at 6 o'clock. We will now take employee input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it is sometimes difficult for employees of our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There are many ways for employees to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, one-to-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board wants to hear from you. With this section of our agenda, we are creating another avenue for employees to speak to the board. We are setting aside 30 minutes for employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. I will now call the first speaker, Mr. Crete.
He's got some handouts. Turn my thing. And staff, when we opened instructional bargaining over 6 weeks ago, the district brought a plan to use the teacher salary increase allocation to raise the early career teacher salaries yet again. And that is, of course, by design from the legislature and is required to do so. When we met again yesterday, our HCTA bargaining team and members were shocked and disappointed when the same proposal was offered after HCTA proposed a logical proposal that would help with filling the egregious number of vacancies, improving the low morale, and recognizing our veteran employees who have been doing an amazing job despite covering classes, losing planning time, and having the largest class loads in recent memory, all during a pandemic. Well, we worked with our members, our bargaining team, our staff, our state union, and our state union to craft a proposal that is well below the budget that you signed off on. We want to honor the fact that the funds must be available for vacant positions, as well as ESPs, custodians, bus drivers, lunchroom workers, administrators, everyone that works in the system. Our proposal allows for that, as well as recognizes the challenges that the district continues to overcome with the current financial situation. I have provided copies for all board members of our offer, including the amounts that the district has provided us with, thanks to HR. We appreciate them, and hope that we can move this great district together. We could do this. So let's settle this in January, and let's move forward, because we could absolutely do this. I've given you numbers there. You could always reach out to me, call me, find me, text me. We'll get together. I'll answer any questions. Be safe. Have a great holiday break, and I look forward to settling this in January.
Thank you. Next, Mrs. Gleek.
Good evening, everybody. I'm back. Okay, so according to the budget that your CFO created and you all approved in the interest of transparency, a certain number of dollars was specifically set aside for salaries. You have all of that information in front of you. The people that you have chosen to represent the district for bargaining have decided to ignore that, and that is why we are at a standstill right now. And I thought it might be a good idea for you to hear what a typical day is like for a teacher. So my school hours are from 7:45 to 3:45. I get there every day sometime between 7:10 and 7:15, and I never leave before 4:30. Just doesn't happen. Sometimes it's 5:30, or sometimes I just stay and go straight to the basketball game or to the concert, which doesn't start till 7:30. I teach 5 preps. I'm an AVID coordinator. Almost every single AVID coordinator in this district already teaches 3 or 4 preps. I happen to teach 5. We understand that when we take the job. That's 5 different classes with 5 different curriculums. So 5 different things are happening each time another group of kids walks in the door. Lunch. Okay, so I have, during the first lunch period, anywhere from 5 to 10 kids that come in to have a safe place to eat, to get help, to meet with their friends, to actually have a chair because things are so crowded, or to get help. And that happens during both of those lunch periods. When I get to work, I look to see if any emails or assignments have been submitted through Canvas. I've done it 3 times just sitting here, and I grade them. During the 15 minutes when I have no students in my room between the 2 lunch, that's when I'm making phone calls. I get my steps in every day in my classroom before I go home. It's insane. Kids need a quiet place to sit. I'm skipping. We have over 1,000 vacancies. I think it's great. This America, I don't know the whole name of it, I apologize. I think that's great. So those people are going to come in where they're supposed to be on the salary scale, yet at this point you're refusing to give our teachers that should be there, that have been here and have worked, their step increase. Workable raises are in. The budget is there. That's what you've told the people that live in this district, that you are going to pay our teachers. And like I said, people are going to come in, and the fund balance won't be affected because that money was budgeted for salaries. So I think the board needs to be totally aware, look at all that stuff that Rob gave you, because you're not meeting your obligation and what you agreed to. Thank you. Stay safe. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Lee.
Hello, everybody. It's been a while. I'm coming to you tonight with a heavy heart for our teachers and students. Through the past few years, the teachers in Hillsborough County have learned and adapted in ways that seem impossible, given the amount of time we've had to pivot every time a change or new initiative occurred. We've been there for the students, providing consistency, gave them our best every day, no matter what circumstances surrounded us. However, over the past 2 years, it's become abundantly clear that the powers that be don't care about the students and teachers, but about their public appearance and the illusion of a great district. The district bargaining team came to meet with CTA yesterday, not in good faith, but in poor taste, coupled with an air of complete disrespect and lack of regard for the value of the teachers in Hillsborough County. They countered our reasonable offer that there is money budgeted for with nothing. No steps for the dedicated teachers on any part of the scale. No cost of living adjustments when living is not affordable for many of our staff. The only proposal was to use the state money to meet the minimum new teacher requirement, nothing more. I and many are concerned where the budgeted money would go, concerned that the abundant vacancies will grow as new teachers choose other districts with more attractive pay scales after those initial years. Most of all, we're concerned because this all affects our students and stands in the way of them getting the best education they can. There's already about 1,000 vacancies. That means there's 1,000 places every day in the district where students are getting minimal service by anybody around. The middle and high schools are completely out of control with bullying, violence, and fights. This is a direct result of vacancies and understaffing. A top-notch education for students costs money. Are the students in Hillsborough not worthy of the best in all areas when they step on our campuses every day? Are the teachers and school staff that carry out the daily mission of our district and work not worthy of getting paid a livable wage and recognition of their hard work with our students? The operating deficit keeps getting brought into play as a reason for not being able to meet these demands. There's other areas where the district could plan to cut back. We have massive amounts of money spent on people that work in offices and never come in contact with students. What's the plan to slash those areas? Surely if a deficit is great enough, we have to go deep and wide. Teacher morale is low. This is evidenced by your vacancies, your people resigning and going on leave weekly. Let's be clear, it's never ever the kids. Never once have I heard a teacher say they were leaving because of students or the practice of teaching. It's because of unreasonable demands, incessant testing, lack of professional autonomy, poor treatment, and not being able to provide for their families. I hope this board is able to hold our negotiating team accountable to come and bargain in good faith for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shiver?
When do I start? We ready? Can I start? So, good evening, board members, Chairperson Combs, congratulations, and Superintendent Davis, and I want to apologize up front. I didn't let you know I was coming. Okay. All right. I would like to bring an issue, and I'm reading tonight. I have some personal issues. My father is, he has advanced Alzheimer's, and we have also a stage 4 throat cancer diagnosis, and I've been with him doing chemo all morning, which you can imagine trying to convince someone with Alzheimer's why he needs chemo is just an issue. So I'm going to be reading tonight. I don't typically like to do that. I would like to bring an issue before you as I see it. I am the school counselor at Brandon Epic, for those of you that don't know. Brandon Epic's student population is 86% Black, Latino, or biracial. That in itself is an issue. But the more immediate issue is with student transitions that will take place on Friday. My support staff and I was asked to be involved with writing safety plans for these students who are transitioning to traditional campuses. First, according to the Code of Student Conduct, students who have met with the OSE, Office of Student Engagement, should already have a safety plan, meaning a majority of our students should have entered with a plan. Second, whether there is intention or motive, the data alone will infer that Black and Latino students are being targeted with these transitional safety plans as they transition back. This is the first time we have ever been asked to be involved in such plans regarding transitioning students. As professional courtesy, I will speak to other counselors as students transition, but we've never been asked to provide information like this year. I'd like no part in this. However, please. However, when I question things such as this to the level they need to be questioned, I am accused of not being a team player when I am just simply doing my job and advocating for students. For other conversations, I am tired of constantly having to ask if the policy and procedures are being followed for my site and for my students. This isn't hard. Just follow procedures in regard to students. And if we are to be thrown things like safety or transition plans last minute, please train us on the expectations or at least attempt to get buy-in from us before we're required to do such. Thank you. And I don't know if you know it or not or you're aware, but we have 217 students on our campus. We don't have enough technology for 40 students in a classroom. So we are limited in hoping and guessing that students don't show up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And your concerns will be met. And Ms. Superintendent Davis just sent someone to speak to you, Ms. Shiver. Okay, we will continue on. Okay, 708. Approve the Collins Pre-K boundary change. I need a motion and a second to approve item 6C 708. I have a motion by member Snively and a second by member Vaughn. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have a question or comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For both this item and 709, since we're talking about attendance boundaries changes, I just wanted to bring this down from the consent agenda to the discussion item. I don't want those boundary changes to go forward and for parents to come and be surprised and say that we had never talked about it and things were just passed on a consent agenda. When we're doing things like changing boundaries, we need to, at the very least, have a vote and a public discussion about them. So I don't have any questions about these specifically. Again, I just didn't want them to go through on the consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Please vote when your lights appear. Okay, and it passes 5, and there's 1 no by Member Perez, and Member Gray is away from the dais. Okay, on to the next item. 709, approve West Shore attendance boundary proposal and City Council rezoning. I need a motion and a second to approve item 6C 709. I have a motion by Member Hahn and a second by Member Snively. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item, and do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Snively, you have a comment?
Thank you. I didn't hit my button fast enough on the last agenda item 708, but this kind of refers to 709 as well when we talk about attendance boundaries. And I wanted to thank the growth management folks for the reports that they've attached to these agenda items, and I would encourage citizens who are impacted by these to go out and make sure that they're looking closely at the maps and at the shifts in where their students are going, because even though the reports do indicate that most parents that were going to be impacted or whose children are impacted have been reached, it's still sometimes a shock to the system when your student has to change schools. But the question I had for the superintendent and or his staff was the feedback that you're getting from the school administration. Has it been positive feedback, or what kind of feedback have you been getting from the administrators, and what are they hearing from the parents? Because that part I couldn't make a distinction in the information that was presented as whether or not this is fully accepted by parents and students and administrators.
Yes, ma'am.
Both of them.
I'll start on 708. 708 definitely have to be able to do something for Rogers and Barrington with the number of students that are at each of those schools. So being able to be very intentional about what neighborhoods that we actually move to Collins, we had to do something. So Collins worked so gracefully with the BOCC to be able to expand and add the additional wing, be able to seat over 500 students. So the good thing about this is that we're only impacting one neighborhood for 708, which is the pre-K through 8th grade in Collins, and I think it's Panthers Trace. We're able to move out and keep all the students together, and I think they're really appreciative of that, so we're not chunking this process in multiple ways within the community. So this move will be able to start in August 2023, and it's been positive. We've held 2 virtual meetings. We emailed every constituent that will be impacted in this particular move, sent out parent links to be able to hold this. We know that we don't have a significant large amount of individuals engaged in the 2 virtual meetings that we've had, but the feedback we've gotten, they're just grateful, appreciative to be able to keep that particular segment together as they transition. Mr. Farkas, anything you want to add?
Just real quick,
the
Ms. Stargable's done a wonderful job, the principal at Collins, to make sure that she engaged her community. She's a wonderful principal, but she also has kind of gotten that feedback to us and been a great conduit for us to get that feedback instantaneous as she kind of gets it. She's excited to do that. I think having an educator family and having a wrestling coach for a husband is excited to have that middle school and that secondary part of it. She's been part of the process for planning the school, the design of the school, of what we're going to do and add on those grades. So she's excited to have that on, and we're excited for her. The feedback we've gotten has been pretty much positive. And usually we hear that in boundary changes when there's something negative. It's pretty loud and they're here, but we're very excited that we get to keep Panther Trace together. There is one little neighborhood right outside of that. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is that Shields is also seeing relief from this too. So we're also going to take 250 kids out of Shields, which we know is overcrowded as well.
Go to Eisenhower.
And thank you for allowing me to go back and kind of talk about 708. But 709, are you getting the same type of feedback? And I know Ms. Sargibble has been doing a fantastic job engaging the community, and I'm glad to hear there's a lot of positive feedback. What about 709?
709 is just us, having the forward thinking related to what's happening in West Shore. West Shore is actually explosion related to being able to see new builds, and we are projecting to have condos in that particular area. So we see that we have Grady, we have Coleman and Plant. They're all at capacity related to student stations. So if they build condos within the West Shore area, what we'll do is be able to go ahead and identify now those areas before we have any students living in them. They'll be able to transition to Tampa Bay Elementary School, Pierce Middle School, and then transition to Jefferson High School. So this is just us being, in front of the actual build of the condos. We hear that particular may take place, and it alleviates all the pressure of those three particular sites. Mr. Farkas, anything you want to add?
That's exactly right. We've had positive feedback from the people that actually live in the plant boundary in the schools that are going to make sure they're not negatively impacted going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Snively. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Combs. I just want to clarify that 708 and 709 are very different, because obviously 708 impacts real students and people, and 709 is really just being proactive in a responsible way. There are no students currently living in that area, but we anticipate with everything that's been approved by City Council, it is going to explode. Plant is currently at 101%. Coleman's at 109% capacity. Grady's at 106%. And the schools that it would impact, Jefferson is only at 68% right now. Pierce is at 66%. And Tampa Bay Elementary is at 57%. So it would actually help those schools, because obviously it brings more money into those schools and funding, and helps secure those teachers there, and possibly brings new and creates programs there. So it's kind of a win-win. And right now it just doesn't impact any real people yet, other than that it would really impact those schools. So it is just a great opportunity for us to be proactive. And get ahead of this before it happens. And I think so often we kind of let these things happen, and then we go back and want a reboundary, and then it really creates a lot of angst and anxiety, because those students are already at those schools. So I appreciate any consideration. This is just the first reading. It will come back to us for a final vote. You have to have 2 readings when you do rezoning and reboundary. So it will come back to us for a final vote after the new year. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I also agree that Principal Sargibble has done, Mr. Farkas, a wonderful outreach, proactive. I'm kind of repeating because she has done her due diligence and is so excited, and it's going to be a powerful addition to Panther Trace, not splitting families or the neighborhood, which I now live right near. So it's been very positive. I agree with Member Hahn. If we can just be doing this kind of beforehand and getting that outreach, that communication out there before, perhaps a lot of the fires can be put out, because some of those boundary meetings, as we know, are very contentious. So I think the more that we can follow the model of the Panther Trace Collins, even though it's a different situation, but the communication force, we can reduce those situations. So I would look forward to perhaps seeing the same type of work done behind the scenes, town hall meetings, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next is 7.11, approval of the settlement agreement between Eisenhower Property Group, LLC in Hillsborough County and the School Board of Hillsborough County. I need a motion and a second to approve item C, 711. I have a motion by Member Snively, and I have a second by Member Gray. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you. Last one. Yes, I just wanted, ask Superintendent Davis if one of his staff members could highlight or give more information, because from my understanding, I just think it's, again, important for the public to know that essentially we had agreed on a certain amount of impact fees from a developer. After we had signed the contract, the state legislation changed the law to be more friendly towards developers and lower the impact fees that they're paying towards traditional public education, to where we then had to go back and go through a lawsuit to see if the developer had to pay the impact fees we'd originally agreed for, and then we ended up settling. And I'd love for Superintendent Davis to ask his staff member to highlight, what we would have had the legislation not changed the law, how, what we could have paid out, and just kind of highlight this item for the public. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I think you just did a really good job explaining it. I think you hit all the good high points. Mr. Farkas, you want to talk about what potentially we could have paid with impact fees, how it impacted the new law, changed some of the dynamics, and what we had to do to be able to get a place where we both feel comfortable about related to giving credits in the future?
Yes, sir, and important to note, this is credits, it's not cash, it's changing hands. But in January 15th, 2019, this board approved that proportionate share agreement. The law changed in June of that year. They didn't pay towards that proportionate share agreement until December. So that's why this is a unique case, is that we signed the contract in January, but they didn't actually pay and consummate that contract until 2019 in December. Because that changed, there was a discrepancy. There was 636 homes that we approved. At the beginning, middle school is where the issue was. But as the law changed, it applied to elementary, middle, and high school. That change is about $2 million that we were sued for. We went to find that balance, went to mediation, and as it turned out, we agreed to, as you see out there, about $900,000 in impact fee credits. We felt like that was the middle ground. We appreciate the attorneys and Mr. Gibson and Mr. Porter for helping kind of advise as we went through that process, because it was a unique one. But we feel like that's a middle ground. It's a fair to both sides of the party. But you're exactly right, Ms. Vaughn. The law changed and what the impact fees apply to, and did impact us negatively.
Thank you, Mr. Farkas. Any other further comments? Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We're going to move on to the informational items. We now have 1201, the Finance Advisory Committee update. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
At this time, we'll ask for our chair and vice chair to come up to be able to provide an update of where we are with the Financial Advisory Committee. This is our Citizens Financial Committee that we put together to be able to review policy, be able to review finances, and to provide the board with any type of feedback that they identify that we can continue to make certain that we spend every dollar and every cent in a responsible manner. Mr. Warner or Mrs. Lyons?
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. This is Rick Warner. I'm Ellen Lyons. We're on the Citizens Advisory Committee. And the Financial Advisory Committee would like to thank the School Board of Hillsborough County for forming the committee and charging us with understanding and providing input into financial decisions affecting the district. Since the chartering of our organization, we have met 3 times. We have elected a chair, Rick Warner, and a vice chair, Ellen Lyons. The committee has received extensive financial information and participated in 2 presentations with CFO Romanier Johnson, and we are well on our way to gaining the knowledge needed to give input into the school board on financial issues. So thank you.
Thank you. And if you wonder what we've been doing since then, at our December meeting, we heard a further presentation on the potential steps to balance the budget from our CFO, and a staffing history presentation from the Human Resources Department as the committee continues to gather the information we need to prioritize our efforts, because as you all know, looking at the budget is a big chore, and we've got to decide, pare down and start and set some priorities on where we look to help you all do what you've been trying to do for the last couple of years, is balance that budget.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much for all your time and effort and volunteer and everything that you're doing. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is 1202, which is the interlocal agreement for school facilities planning, sitting, and concurrent update. Superintendent Davis will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. To the chair, this is just bringing back to the board an update. Yeah, as you know, we've been working with the BOCC. One of the biggest things we wanted to do is be able to adjust and address the local agreement. And we thought we would be able to get it done by the end of the year and just provide information to the board that at this time we won't be able to close it at the end of the year, but we are working every single day to get it done as soon as we can at the beginning of January 2022. This is not any type of barrier between ourselves or BOCC. We're just very busy, very time, and we're providing all of our staff available to be able just to go through some of this this agreement so that we get it right and ready to present to the board upon completion.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis. We will now move to our closing comments. Superintendent Davis, your comments. We will move to superintendent's comments and then the board comments.
Yes, ma'am. Through the chair, at this time, I want to go ahead. I want to apologize to some of our leaders that have been sitting here this entire evening to be able to be recognized. If we can get the PowerPoint up and to the board, I'm going to skip into the leaders. As you know, the superintendent's comments were at the beginning of the agenda, and now we are putting them at the end of the agenda, which kind of makes sense related to we can get our business work done. But I'm going to skip through this PowerPoint real fast and get to our new leaders in our school district so we can get you in and out of here this evening. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to go all the way through this. And thank you for the board. And all right, so here we go. One of the celebrations is to recognize new leaders, which is aligned to goal number 3 of our strategic plan with exceptional talent. And with that said, we had an opportunity to hire a new regional superintendent. And I want to thank all of the leaders that took the time to apply, those who interviewed. We have some really qualified, skilled leaders who all could have stepped up and taken on this role. However, we have an individual that really continued to separate herself in the work every single day. And this is, our new regional superintendent for middle school is Mrs. Colleen Fawcett. Ms. Fawcett, if you'll please come up. You have to come up. You've been here all night. Might as well. We'll take a picture. When we talk about leaders, and I hope I get this right, Mrs. Fawcett has been in this organization since 1990 and has taken on a number of educational roles, inclusive of area leadership coach. She was a lead principal. And when she was at Roosevelt, and I believe that was her first stop, she moved the school from ranked in the state 212th in the state to 8th in the state. That's her with her concentration. Then transitioned to Wilson in the same cohort of students, and that talked about looping to be able to engage the community matters. She moved that school from 32nd in the state to 15th in the state. And this just talks about all the leadership that she has done. She has a proven track record for moving schools, building bridges, showing value for teachers. And I'm proud to say that she is our new regional superintendent for middle school. I feel like she's held so many positions me and Ms. Snively talked about in the last 24 months. She's just popping around. And I'm sorry, she'll stop applying and, really knocking it out of the park in the interview, and we'll be able to solve that issue. But she is currently the executive director of high schools. I can't even tell you what she did before that, but that was like 2 weeks ago. She's got a Roman name tag. It's just digital now. We just update it. Well, you're going to have to explain your resume to someone and just tell them to call me. I'm sorry. But congratulations to you. We appreciate your hard work and dedication and look forward to your continued work. And Sue is really happy in her team, and Marcos and Ken, to be able to get another leader that is respected from Hillsborough County and really has a remarkable track record. So congratulations to you. Yes, ma'am. All right, and our next one is, we had an individual that is retiring at Graham, our principal at Graham Elementary School. Come on, stand up. Come on, stand up. Woo-hoo. Some love. Well deserved. We can't talk her out of it. It is what it is. We get it. But we get a chance. She's done a wonderful job being able to build the capacity of our leaders. And we talk about leadership. We have an individual that has been in education for a while. He's an AP he's been an AP since 2013. He did a really good job. He was at AP at Dunbar Elementary School, which moved that school from a D to a B. And then in 2016 was moved to Potter. Under great leadership at Potter, being able to build the culture, being able to support teachers, being able to address mental health, to be able to address the track record academically. He was able to help part of that team, but improve 90 points on the accountability and become a solid C. And at Potter, it's no easy cakewalk, and the leadership continues to step up every single day. But with that and focus on high quality instruction, it is my recommendation to this board to hire Eric Felder as the new principal of Graham Elementary School. Come on up, Eric. And Ms. Waite, thank you so very much for what you do every single day. We know it's not easy in the work, so congratulations. All right, you got to take a picture. Ms. Spires, you want to come up for a minute? We're going to recognize her for all her hard work, too, so we're going to give her some love. She waited this entire time, so congratulations to you for everything that you've done. We appreciate it. It's not easy. It's not an easy role and responsibility, but as you transition out, we hope that you can take it out. It's up to you. So get ready for that picture. All right, congratulations to each of you. Ms. Fawcett, Ms. Spires, congratulations, Ms. Waite and Eric, and I look forward to supporting you in your work. And know that this job is it's very different from going from an assistant principal to principal, but know that everyone in this room and on this dais and in this community, we're here to help you be successful and continue to support you in your efforts. So congratulations to each of you. Thank you. So tonight, I want to share some agenda highlights, review naming of school UUU, which is in the Waterset area, celebrate new leaders, which we've already done, highlight winter break closure, identify areas of focus, and provide an update on our current process with our suspended agenda. But tonight we're able to, on a consent agenda, to highlight the student progression plan. This is a plan that really talks about the progression of students and how they move from one grade level to the next and expectations and supports. With this process, there's three major areas that we want to be able to highlight as a school district. One of the ones was in middle school mathematics. There was an acceleration placement assessment in the 6th grade that identified whether or not a student took accelerated courses. We are removing that threshold, and there's a number of options that students can meet as a prerequisite to be able to go into advanced coursework. And this is acceleration to be able to open more accessibility to students, in particular students of color, to be able to transition to high-level courses. In addition to that, in the student progression plan, we eliminate the second semester district assessment, because not only do our students take a second semester district assessment, they take a mid-year assessment, which is identified and required by our progress monitoring plan by the Department of Education. So we just lump that into one. And then the third one is that we've added the new Florida Civics Literacy Examination requirement for Florida college entrance per state statute. This is currently for 12th grade students that have to take it starting this year, so we're updating that information. We will say and highlight that we did outpace the state by 10% with this assessment at the first semester, so congratulations. And you need that. You need this to be able to, if you don't pass it in high school, then you have to take it and pass it at the college level. So this will be transitioned in Spanish for all of our community members, and these are just update and other further language that are updated by new legislative changes within the school district. Anything from staff? No, really? Good to go. All right. And then the second one would be our early college program, which is 608. We have it's new by state law this year that we have to identify a post-secondary pathway for students to earn their AA degree. We have partnered with HCC. We forecast around 80 students to have a legitimate pathway to be able to obtain an AA degree while they're in high school. We have a number of offerings through dual enrollment and a number of offering opportunities, but this will cost the district around $144,000, and this is directly linked to goal number 1 with academic excellence. And then finally, we have 1001, which is our MOU with St. Leo University. This is all about being able to offer level 1 educational leadership certification. My goal as superintendent is to make certain that I match the racial demographics of our institution and our leadership population with our student population. So being able to address one of our largest gap is being able to address creating a leadership longer, stronger bench of Hispanic leaders, and being able to do this. So we have 2,300 employees that qualify for this initiative because St. Leo is going to offer this pathway, and 800 of them, 800 individuals of the 2,300 are individuals of color, which is directly linked to our goal number 3, which is exceptional talent within our school district. I wanted to highlight Teach for America. We already talked about that through the discussion process. This will be a new initiative that we'll pilot to be able to fill positions in the transformational network. Also, we have the naming of School UU, which is located at Pre-K 8 in the Watersett community. This is linked to goal number 4, fiscal and operational responsibility. With that said, we want to be able to share the timeline starting on December 15th to January the 28th. We will be soliciting school naming requests from all of our stakeholders. We will send this information. We will upload it online. We'll push it out through social media platforms. We will leverage parent newsletters. We'll send it out in the Principal Weekly. We'll use a press release to be able to solicit information, and then we'll also leverage Watersett Community Newsletter along with Parent Link in the South Hillsborough County with families to gain accessibility. As you see, we'll work through this and have a meet and greet session on January the 6th with our new principal, Principal Leonard, who's super excited. We'll hold that at Leonard High School. And then we'll have a deadline to obtain this information, and I'll provide the board on February 1st considerations for naming and potentially vote on February the 8th as we move forward. To date, we have over 825 students that have applied to the school already and through our choice window, and this is a celebration to be able to bring students to be able to help them with that, to get into our schools along the way. And I'll send this timeline in my follow-up to each of the board members. New leaders, we've already identified that. And then winter break. This is talk about operational responsibility. Winter break starts on December the 20th. All schools and district offices will be closed until December 31st. All of our teachers and staff will return on January the 3rd, and students do not return until January 4th. We'll make sure we highlight that on our social media as well. So parents do not send their students back on the 3rd, but we'll be ready for the 4th to be able to embrace them. And all this to say, I want to, take the time to make certain that all of our staff, all of our leaders, all of our instructional staff and non-instructional staff really take this time to be with their family, their friends, and their loved ones. You have been really remarkable during the school year, so please take the time to rest, to relax, and be re-energized, because when we hit the ground running, in January, we're going to hit that ground running and really put it in another gear to be able to help our students excel. And I just want to thank all of our staff for everything that they do. I gave Mr. McCauley a hard time about that image about the snowman. He said that's the sunny Florida holidays, and but he did a good job bringing it. And then areas of focus. I know we want to go as we move forward for 2022. We have got to continue to make certain, as many of our speakers spoke about, and our teachers, creating a space where Hillsborough County is a first place for individuals to come to work. And we'll do that through making certain that we show value. But we also, as we move forward to greatness, we've got to make certain that we're leveraging local leaders and to invest in public education while creating a stable financial plan in Hillsborough County. And then we'll continue to focus on eliminating persistently low-performing schools with wraparound services along the way. And then we will focus on expanding workforce development and galvanizing our community to work together and work in concert to be a part of this workforce development. and we will continue to focus on expanding pre-K, VPK, and accelerated coursework within Hillsborough County, and then leveraging financial stability and have a solid financial plan to continue to present to the board through Mrs. Johnson's office, and then potentially seeking additional revenue. And this is our recipe that we'll focus on as we start the academic year 2022 to be able to return back to to great opportunities. This has been an agenda. COVID, one thing the board has asked is to provide continued update of COVID. We've had a number of vaccination clinics that we've offered now that students, young students under 11 years of age can have accessibility to it. So we have Turkey Creek Middle School. We offered a clinic on December 11th where over 212 vaccinations were administered. 212 of those were students from ages 5 to 17. Then also being able to do it at our migrant educational program where 44 vaccinations were administered as well. We'll continue to make that an offering within our community. And then also with sales tax, we want to thank our executive committee for managing our sales tax. We continue to have over $283 million that we've expended to date, and $15 million were on this consent agenda for final acceptance for school board replacements, storm sewer replacements, HVAC, roof, painting, and then also turf fields that have been installed. And just really thankful for this committee and their leadership, and also this community for trusting us to be able to spend this money in a fiscal responsible manner. And then transformation, finally. Transformation is give an update. We talked about the being innovative, being able to bring individuals, over 200 individuals to our schools to help being able to provide small group instruction to and mentoring to our students. We also have a new initiative at Kinley partnership with Petco. The founder being able, Ron Coughlin, to be able to contribute and acknowledge the memory of his uncle who worked in a long-time employee of Hillsborough County to be able to give back. He's going to be able to start a new process close to $1 million over the next 5 years to be able to identify a cohort of students that they will walk through all the way through graduation to give them a collegiate mindset, a collegiate experience, and work with their families to do so. So thank you so very much to Petco and their partnership and I know Mr. Russell is really excited about this process. And then transformation. Middle school is a time where we're trying to incentivize our students. They're trying to figure out who they are emotionally, socially, academically, intellectually. And we put some incentives in place through transformation to show those who have given best effort attendance-wise, given best effort academically and behaviorally, to incentivize them. And they had a really cool event at Main Event Arcade for the entertainment complex. Thanks to Shay McCray and her team for making this a reality to incentivize students. They held it on November the 17th, and they continue to find proactive ways to connect with our students to allow them to be successful. And then our FACE team of transformation, our family and community engagement team, they continue to provide the essentials to our students. So there's, I think there's around 13 schools that we identified to be able to provide holiday meals and the essentials during the time off that we will identify. And this team has been remarkable. They will serve over 2,200 families in this particular time frame. And, thank you for Shay and her team to continue to take proactive steps and put this in place and leverage the organizational structure that was the mentality of helping our community. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Davis, and the cabinet and faculty and staff for everything that you do. Now we will move to the final portion of today, which we will move to board comments. Board members, just a reminder, you'll have 5 minutes each to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. And we will begin with Member Perez.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Superintendent, board members, last week, a fellow board member made a comment, and I really need to address it because it has been out in the public, and the public has asked me to address it. And the comment was that my election to this board was by chance. The Hispanic community is 30% of Hillsborough County and is weaved into every corner of its 1.46 million people, which is larger than 11 states. Our schools have 53,600 Hispanic students and 40,000 808 black students. I am not a chance. And I do not subscribe to the manifest destiny of my fellow board members' belief graced her with the electability of whiteness. A chance is a raffle. A chance is a lottery ticket. This elected official is a voice of the people, not a chance. I am a licensed clinical social worker bringing to this district a voice of mental health. At a time when mental health is at a critical crisis level. I'm a certified traumatologist, a certified domestic violence counselor, a certified forensic counselor, a certified compassion fatigue specialist, a certified cognitive behavioral therapist, and a certified sentence mitigation specialist. And chance did not bring this background to this table. The voice of the people did, especially during the time of crisis in the lives of our children. I am fully qualified to serve this board, and I'm also a trilingual Latina, fluent not only in Spanish, but in ASL, 42 years worth. When the parents of our Hillsborough County School children went to the polls to have their voices heard, it was not by chance. It was with the full intent that they have someone on this board represent their children and to have the needs of their children addressed. I am a product of Hillsborough County Schools. My children are a product of Hillsborough County Schools. And my grandchildren, all 8 of them, are products of Hillsborough County Schools. And for it to be said that this board has never had diversity representation on this board when former board member Susan Valdez served this body for 14 years and now represents us in Tallahassee on a higher level, not only for the community but also for our students, is insulting at best. She established our dual language programs here in Hillsborough County Schools, Hispanic Educators for Change, and Lato High School had a 64% graduation rate when she was first elected, and when she left the board, it was at 90.3%. District 1 had DNF schools, and when she was elected to State House, it had no DNF schools, speaking to the strength of the Latino voice in our school board. But this board member has watched as several board members serving today has disrespected Hispanic elected officials in the public as well. So this public disrespect is not new and demonstrates the comfort level with which the disrespect is exhibited. However, to quote our former First Lady Michelle Obama, when they go low, I will definitely go high. I'm not a chance. Hispanics in office are not a chance. And whether people like it or not, I'm here to stay. Pablo, I have a message for our students and families here in the district regarding their mental health.
School experiences certainly look different today than they did before COVID. Let's consider the way in which COVID and other natural stressors combine to have a profound effect on the mental health of our children. Helping our kids find balance and peace of mind is the key to their well-being. There are methods that you can use to help create a sense of balance and cope with stress. Create a daily routine. Encourage your child to share their experiences and just talk to your kids. You'll be amazed at what you learn.
The past 18 months has been a real challenge with the country as a whole, or even with the world. We've seen a global pandemic.
Aetna CVS is working with local governments and communities like yours
We're helping with children and adults who are struggling with depression and anxiety. Call the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay or visit online.
Everyone have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas to all and a Happy New Year as well.
Thank you, Member Perez. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Member Perez, for always being a very strong voice and advocate for the Hispanic community as well as mental health. I appreciate your service to the board. So I wanted to ask a few questions, really quick. One, we did confirm that our progression plan is going to be translated into Spanish as well, so our bilingual parents can access that. Okay, thank you. Second, can we, since there's been some updates with bargaining, get back after the new year for the board to talk about that, because we're getting many emails, and I appreciate the update from CTA, but I would like us to have a conversation about that, so I'm formally requesting that. And just number 3, I'd like us, when we come back, it will be too late, but I think several people have talked about and made a good point about continuing testing for students that haven't had access to that curriculum due to shortages in our school and staffing. Many had substitute teachers, and I'd like to talk about, in that situation, how we can accommodate to make sure we're not testing students on materials that they haven't gotten yet. So I'd like to talk about that in the new year, although I know it'll be past final, so that we don't have a problem like that next year going forward. But to move forward, I'd like to talk, I'd also like to say thank you to our security team. I just want to say that I really appreciate them and the hard work that they do to keep us safe. And I'd also like to talk about some things happening in my district. Pablo, do you have my PowerPoint? My PowerPoint. All right, this is Childs Elementary, who, in remembrance of community member Ken Adam, who is a former teacher, 3-time principal of the year at Gaither, an administrator in 37-year career with Hillsborough County Public Schools. He passed away recently following a battle with cancer at the age of 74, and Childs wanted to commemorate him. He was very involved with Metropolitan Ministry and doing a food drive, so they put out a food drive, and they raised 5,138 pounds of food to donate to Metropolitan Ministries. That looks like a big picture, but if you actually saw it in person, it took over the entire front office. It was quite a sight to see. So I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the community coming around that. Also, we have started a food drive here at ROSAC for the Metropolitan Ministries as well. My secretary, Mark, has done a fantastic job with getting boxes, sending out flyers. So far, we've only raised a couple £100, but still, I appreciate everyone who's donated. So we will be here until Friday. So if you have some canned goods, please bring them in. Boxes, that tells you what we're accepting. So I wanted to talk about that. Also, I wanted to mention the surprise patrol that we all had, many of us had the honor of going to. It was fantastic. We got to surprise our nominees for instructional support, the Ida S. Baker Diversity Award, Teacher of the Year. It was extremely emotional to be able to celebrate some of our most treasured educators, and they were also just so grateful and touching. I just had to mention that. And our announcement will be on January 20th, and I look forward to going to see the awards. And as well, I also wanted to just really wish everybody a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate, an extremely safe new year. It's been a tough few years. I just want to say how much I appreciate all of the people in our schools, our staff, our teachers, our admins, and all of the people here at ROSAC, all of the superintendent staff who work so hard to equip us to be able to do our job. We really appreciate it. So happy holidays to everyone, and just sending out good wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Snively?
Thank you. I'm going to start heavy and end light. So heaviness was some of the public comment today about sexually explicit books and materials in our libraries. And so I think that there's a lot of concern, obviously, from parents and taxpayers. There is concern about the process and the policy around books of that nature. And I think it would be wise, and I know I don't know if we settled on a way to request workshops for the moving forward, but and if we could get consensus, but maybe that would be a workshop topic that we could understand the process and look at the policies that are in place that impact that process, because I don't think that concern is going away until we address it publicly with our constituents. And so I would make a formal request to the chair for a workshop surrounding that policy and process. And then so the other thing I wanted to ask was, I saw the slide that said that the suspended agenda, but I would like to see the suspended agenda at the next board meeting and certain updates to that suspended agenda. I saw that it had a slide, but there was nothing. I didn't see. Was there something I missed?
Yes, ma'am.
An attachment?
Yes, ma'am. To the chair, we did COVID,
Right.
and we did transformation.
Okay. I'd like to actually see the suspended agenda at board meetings. So, because I want to remember what's on it,
Okay.
and I want to make sure we hold you accountable for all of the things that are listed on the suspended agenda, right? When is our next policy workshop? Do we have one?
You have one scheduled for January, and I think you discussed that this morning, but there was some issue about what the
dates,
futures would look
the
like, workshop
Tuesdays.
futures would look like. So when Ms. Davis comes back, we will work on that and get a date solidified for you.
Okay. Just wanted to talk about student data privacy the next time we have that policy workshop. And that was one of the public comments tonight, concerns about student privacy, data privacy, and make sure that we're addressing concerns in our policy and listening to how you enforce the privacy concerns that parents might have. Okay, lighter. Lighter is congratulations to all the finalists. I know Member Vaughn mentioned. It's a very exciting time of year to be able to recognize our teachers' hard work. And so congratulations to the finalists for the Teacher of the Year, the Instructional Support Person of the Year, and the Ida S. Baker Diversity finalists. All very exciting. It reminds us how hard our teachers and staff work. This first 2 quarters of the year, it's felt like 3 years. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that, but I'm guessing there are a lot of people that feel that way up there. So I hope we continue, as board members, we continue to have conversations about not just teacher negotiation status, which I know that that's going to be coming forward, but also the working conditions around making sure that teachers feel appreciated, make sure their working conditions are professional and acceptable, and they feel good about where they go to work, that they have the right supports to be able to do their jobs. And so I hope we continue to have some conversation around that as well, because everybody knows that teachers don't get into teaching for the money. They do it for the love of children, and we want to make sure that it's not always just the almighty dollar that we're addressing. It's the conditions and everything surrounding the teacher to help support them do their jobs. And then finally, just a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope everyone gets some well-needed rest and relaxation over the break, and look forward to we'll see everybody on Thursday. We have one more board meeting, special call board meeting this Thursday, but then we'll break and see everybody next year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Snively. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I echo Member Snively's request for a workshop or retreat regarding the book selection, much needed. Next, I want to thank, in particular, our Oversight Committee for their diligent work in making sure that our referendum monies are spent wisely, with the idea of $15 million being collected in 1 month. We definitely we should appreciate, I know we do, those members of the Oversight Committee crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And I learned a little bit about the CEO of the Tampa Bay Chamber, Dr. Bob Warlack. I didn't know he was a doctor, but we had the 134th annual meeting, record growth of membership, and some of the initiatives that the chambers, and I know some of you might know this, but I did not know, the Emerging Leaders of Tampa. Now, we should have known that because our own Kristen Davis is one of the emerging leaders, is part of that chamber. They also had a Military Impact Award, and they have an incredible outreach to the MacDill Air Force Base. a lot of concern and care. And the Minority Bridge Accelerated Program, which really branches out to the Hispanic Latino businesses and our black businesses. So there's a lot of outreach. I just want to thank them for their involvement and being great partners with our Hillsborough County Public Schools. I'm going to thank the Brink population, but I'm going to let Member Combs do that because a lot of that money, how much was it, 125? Or 75 million, 75,000 to 15 schools. Anyway, she's going to talk about that, but ever so thankful to that wonderful partner, the Brink Foundation. Also, I wanted to make sure that, and I know Member Washington knows too, but save the dates. The HAPSI Black History Brain Bowl. Yes, it's coming. Thanks, Kingsha Parham. The preliminaries begin on February 8th and 9th at Brandon and Lato High School, and on February 10th, the middle school and high schools will take place at Blake High School, with the final big finale will be February 26th, and Blake will host these ceremonies. And I want to thank not only Kingsha Parham, Chris Jargo. I want to thank Terry Connor for working so hard with this, and of course, Superintendent Davis for making your staff, wherever you are, possible. And tons of gratitude to Fred Hearns, who is the real iconic Black history cultural leader, and our wonderful board member who helps me, Shake Washington. Thank you, Member Washington. It takes a big team to do this. Also, and I thank Snively for mentioning, our wonderful teachers, and we know that. We know that we want to always thank them, and we need to do more. I told Superintendent Davis that the copy machines are blowing up because they have to run off all these tests, and there are pages and pages. So, one of the things about morale is we've got to take care of these copy machines. But I actually think that the extra support personnel need a little bit of a cry out, because they only get, I think, $11.43 an hour, and they do such hard work with our teachers, and I know our teachers know that as well. So when we talk about our next powwow with negotiations, I want us to also remind ourselves of their importance. And I think finally, I wish our wonderful students, of course, our teachers, the staff, our cabinet, our business partners, our political leaders, and there's just no end, but to our school board members, to a relaxing, restful, and yes, you should get some exercise when you can. And I'm looking to my right and my left, and I'm going to have my stopwatch on because the Gasparilla is coming up. And board members, help me put Superintendent Davis on a 7:30 mile, or at the best 8 minutes, because he has got to get himself going. That's been a promise. So that's all I want to say, and I better be quiet before I get in real trouble. Thanks, Madam Chair. I'm done.
You still had 7 seconds remaining.
Oh.
So, Member Hahn?
Can I take those? No, take those 7 seconds. Thank you, Chair Combs. It's been a really busy 2 weeks for me. I had another stream event. As you may recall, we did one earlier last month. We've been piloting these because the goal is to get them replicated across all of our host programs and some of our private after-school programs like the YMCA, and I've been working with the Tampa Housing Authority. So we had a great 3-day event. We taught first, second, and third graders how to program robots within the context of the Very Hungry Caterpillar. It was so much fun. I have lots of photos and video, and you can go to my Facebook page, for my Hillsborough County Facebook page, to look at those and watch those. It's so exciting to see the look of the kids' faces when they program those robots on the last day and let them go. And a lot of their parents came to see that. It was fun. I want to thank Casper's McDonald. Well, one, I want to thank Charamonte for hosting it. Two, I want to thank the Housing Authority for loaning us the roamers. Thank you so much, Bobby. I want to thank Casper's McDonald's, Dustin Portillo, coming out on the last day, giving each child a copy of the Very Hungry Caterpillar book to have for their very own, providing them happy meals, and of course those wonderful little smiley faces that are so fun. It really made it special for the kids. So thank you, Casper McDonald's. Thank you to Dr. Holmquist Johnson for doing the training of the teachers and the students on coding the robots. And I also had the Han Holiday Book Tour kickoff. I gift each one of my pre-K students in District 2 a book. This year it was Splat the Cat. So I delivered as many as I could to the schools, and the rest were shipping out to make sure they get there before the Christmas deadline. So that was really exciting. I've been doing that since my first year on the board. And then lastly, this past Saturday, I had my MacDill Family Holiday event. And that was a lot of fun because we did a live story time online, and I worked with local author Athens Pellegrino. She wrote these 2 books. She's a mom. She's part of the military community, and the books are specifically written for military students. She was great. She read this book. I read the Military Chronicles Mission Mistletoe, which was geared toward Christmas and being in the military without your family, your extended family, and spending it with your military family. And we gifted each of the children who attended a copy of the author's book, so that was a lot of fun too. I want to thank our FACE folks for being out there. They provided so many great resources. We did an information session after the story time. The kids went into another room, had some coloring books and crayons, and they had McDonald's breakfast. Thank you again, Casper's McDonald's, for providing breakfast. It was wonderful, and the parents got to interact with a panel of folks that included 3 high school students, Isabella, Pim, and Grace, and they really talked about their lived experience in the military growing up and what it was like. Some of them have moved quite a bit, and they provided some suggestions to our district on how we could help make those transitions smoother for kids. It was really interesting. Our parents that were there had opportunities to share what it's been like for them to move from place to place, their experiences here. They had some great ideas on how we could strengthen the resources for our military parents. I want to thank Colonel Damon for hosting us at the MacDill Air Force Base, Chris Hugg at the MacDill Air Force Base Youth Center for hosting the event there at the Youth Center. Again, our FACE team, Felita Lewis, Stephanie in that area, our students I thanked, Vanita Waters, who was on the panel, Jennifer Sutherland, Principal Waters from Tinker was there sitting on the panel. So it was just a great opportunity. And lastly, there's a flyer. I want to just say that Mayan has a winter reading challenge. No excuses for not reading. It's super fun. They're going to pick 15 winners from each grade level for prizes. So if, get out there and read. You have all these thousands of books on Mayan you have access to. You may even have a copy of Splat the Cat, or you may have a copy of, the Military Chronicles to read. Lots of good books. So everybody, lastly, I just want to say Merry Christmas, have a safe holiday, and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I had a busy 2 weeks, but I'm going to cut it short tonight. I'm not going to be very long. Yes, ma'am, you know I am. Okay. So, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Milton High School and their 8 top technology students. They will be going to Las Vegas. The students will participate in the most influential tech event in the world. We are very happy. I'd like to also thank Mr. Teo Acrophone. He is the CTE department head over at Milton's High School. So, go Tigers. All right. Good. Next, that's right, Las Vegas. I tell you what, they'll have a great time. Huh? Yeah, I may have to chaperone miss some board meetings. So the next point I have is the last one. we had a great event this weekend, and thank you, Chair, for coming out. We had really good in shade. We came out at Milton High School. We had the We See You Foundation, the Dungy Holiday, and Children with a Vision. We had over 300 families gifts to pass out. And I don't know, we had quite a few bicycles in it. It was unbelievable, right? It was unbelievable how many gifts we had. And they all were donations. iPads, laptops, you name them, we had them. We had a great time, and it was great seeing those young kids come out, you know. Oh, that's right. Let me tell the Soup now. Soup, you're good. You're good. Because the week before that, we did the rapping. I tell you what, the Soup is good. Yeah, he did a good job.
To the chair, let me clarify. Wrapping paper. Chris, I don't have a turntable, but if you want to set up a gift over there and challenge me, bring it on. I love to wrap gifts. I'm a gift, put it this way, I'm a gift wrapper.
Okay, let them have it tomorrow.
Sorry, I can't. I don't have any lyrics.
You really don't, really. I mean, you're good compared to me. You're great compared to me. But we had a great time. A lot of families came out, and that's what we needed for East Hillsborough County. Over the years, the last 2 years, we've been coming in East Hillsborough County, giving out gifts, angel gifts we call them, from the We See You Foundation and the Dungy Foundation. They really have stepped up. Unbelievable how many donations people give to them to come to East Tampa. And I want to thank them for all that they do for East Tampa. And last but not least, my comments will be closing. I want everybody to have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And let's come back next year ready to rock and roll. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Washington. Just as we're closing up with the year, I just did want to mention a couple comments. I know we've had a lot of public speakers coming in recently talking about books, and I'm glad that we're talking about either having a workshop or something, but I want people to realize that it is a national movement, and so to ban books. And when you do see, I am fortunate enough to have several good friends who are librarians in our high schools, and we do have a system in place. So the idea that any child can pick up that book is very misleading. And so when we do hear that, and you hear about these books, and you think that a child can just go up and get that book, that is not correct. It is a national movement. We need to be aware of that, and I think all members need to be aware of that. Also, I wanted to mention, we often talk about funding and how difficult it is. You know, we are receiving less than $8,000, $7,800 per child. If you look at the national average, it's $14,000. Just recently, we saw the inflation of Tampa go up 8%. So when we continue to look, and if you look at any private school, it varies from $25,000, and if you're lucky, $14,000. So when we're receiving half the amount of funding, people need to realize that we are doing so much with so little. So I would love to see people who are going to advocate for public education and advocate for funding. So those are some of the couple things. And because of that, we end up having a lot of community members who support us, such as the We See You and the Dungy Foundation reaching out, because unfortunately our funding is very limited. I also wanted to mention some of Mr. Pablo is going to highlight. Mr. Pablo. Yes, I'm going to say Mr. Pablo. I wanted to highlight the Durrell family. Liz and Ryan Durrell, they're just such a wonderful family. When I was first elected, they said to me, please find the school in District 1 that has the biggest need for technology, and they did support an entire new computer lab for Baycrest. And when I was there, I've known them for many years. I did not realize they've already funded a computer lab in Moore Elementary prior to that. So this is just a wonderful family that wants to give back. All of their children have been through public education. Their wife was a public educator, and I want to thank them. I also want to thank the Brink Foundation. Since 2008, they have served the town and country community and have supported teachers across this district. In this event, they provided 14 of my schools, or all of our schools, should I say, in the town and country, because they're all of our schools. They provided each of those schools a $5,000 check to be able to do whatever they would like to build morale, to help their students. They also, in the room that we're in, is the PBIS room that they donated and helped support at Webb Middle School, as well as now they've also added 2 schools in District 5. So this is a family that has been supporting us since 2008, and I can't tell you how much I support them and how wonderful they have been to us. Not only that, one of their family members also donates their time and tutors students at Webb Middle School twice a week. So not only are they donating their time, but they're also donating the money. And I really wanted to thank them for that. I also wanted to thank, Ms. Courtney for that surprise patrol. I mean, that's amazing. It's one of the most amazing parts of the year, being able to honor our Teachers of the Year, our support personnel, and Ida S. Baker. I know across the district we could honor everyone, but it's so wonderful just to be there to see that person in surprise. And finally, as we go through the holidays, I just want to see happiness consists of giving and in serving to others. And I am just so happy, and I know the rest of our board is here to serve our community and continue to fight for public education and for each and every child in Hillsborough County. Thank you. And seeing no further comments, I hope you have a happy holiday season, and this meeting is adjourned.